There you go. Get the Cricket Mobile or whatever. Or something
You
really.
could use all that time to learn how to play triple triad properly.
Oh fuck! Get out of here with that shit.
Triple triad's so good.
More like triple bypass, fucking triple triad.
I almost subbed to Final Fantasy XIV again just to play triple triad. I miss it so much. That game is so good.
Is it in Final Fantasy XIV?
It is. There's a whole golden saucer. You can spend so much shit in there.
Yep.
Time sink.
Final Fantasy XIV came to Xbox Series X finally, and so I'm doing the 30-day free trial, and I picked a Marauder, tiny.
Wait, you're not doing 30 days,
bro.
That's like saying I'm going to try Coke once.
I'm going to try heroin one time.
Yeah, I just did the one-time heroin. You're not.
I don't get addicted to things. Yeah.
Final Fantasy XIV is the game where I can say, and I'm not joking, it gets great after 150 hours. It sucks for 150 hours, then it gets amazing.
That's also Final Fantasy 13, but we'll cover that.
Speaking of that, Diablo 4, this new they changed like so much shit. It is so awesome now. You can completely skip the campaign with new characters now, which is great. You don't have to fucking speed run your way through the campaign.
Speedwagon, REO.
Yeah, you can REO your way through the campaign. You can have it your way, Burger King.
There you go,
Gerry. Let's do this fucking thing.
Start the fucking show.
What it do, everybody? My name is Aaron. Throw salt on me and watch me dissolve.
And I'm Gerry, and I can sometimes hear the color green.
And you're listening to Super Pod Saga. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, you listen. Holy shit! Welcome back, everybody.
I believe in you.
Podcasting,
ladies and gentlemen, a man trying his best.
Yeah. We'll send it to our editors. We'll have them fix it.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Fuck it.
Yes,
we'll do it live.
Gerry, tell your new friends to calm it down. They're being too loud. Fucking Three's Company and all that.
Are you drinking an energy drink called NOS?
Yeah, you don't have that in Canada?
That shit's good, man. I used to love NOS.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like citrusy. It's like the better Monster energy drink. It's awesome. It's good.
It is. Gerry, it's awesome.
Save yourself. Yes. Don't do it. Don't commit.
Look, from the guy who sells Advanced GG as a side hustle.
Is it NOS?
Don't give me shit. But
is it NOS?
NOS is an energy drink.
No, is it NOS? Good. Is Advanced GG NOS? No, it's good for you.
No. It's not good
is
for
it
you.
Lil Nas X?
Bad for you.
Don't worry. Little
Is it Lil Nas X?
Yeah.
Is that like a new, that could be like a new show. Like instead of is it cake, it's just like is it Lil Nas X? You're just like looking at like cans, you're like, is this Lil Nas X?
And then it comes out dancing, starts rapping. I thought it was a can the whole time.
Fool me once, Lil Nas X.
Welcome back to Super Pod Saga. The show has no flaws.
No, none.
Yeah.
Not so far.
Have a seat, take off your shoes, stay a while. For any first
shirts off.
Yeah, pop a shirt off, crank your hog. I mean, no. No, please do. For any first time listeners, this is the podcast where each week Gerry and I, my main man, we discuss a different video game topic with different guests, hang out, have fun, talk video games, video game accessories. And Gerry, what are we talking about today?
I think we're talking about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
All of it.
All
everything.
of it.
And we have 20 minutes left.
Oh, fuck. Yeah,
Chard, it's an audio podcast. They can't see the lore books that you're holding up to the camera.
Audio listeners, Chard is holding up three gigantic epitaphs.
Come over and see my gigantic game
We like
collection.
to call them tomes.
Yeah, Chard came down the mountain with 3 stone tablets discussing the lore of Final Fantasy, the entire
15
franchise.
commandments.
It's like
10 commandments.
It's like the founding, or not the founding, whatever, of Mormonism, that the golden scriptures only John Smith or whatever could read.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at
only
my
John
translating
Cena.
bag.
Can't see the scriptures.
Dun, 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 dun.
All the Mormons are just losing their shit.
What the fuck did you say about the epitaphs and the angels, bro? Ugh. Fucking breaks their spine on his knee. Dun, 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 dun.
So yes, Final Fantasy.
We've got guests. Hello, guests. We've got Jake and we've got Chard from Press B to Cancel. Hello, fellas.
Thanks for having us back.
Yeah.
We
was
started
waiting
out
for
with
Jake
John
to
Cena. I just got the prophet John Cena stuck in my brain now. That's going to linger. And that's your fault.
Prophet John Cena.
I mean, have you seen him in that firefighter movie? Oh
Is
man,
he in like a firefighter movie once a year?
I thought that was
Well-
Howie Long. No, he's in Howie Long is in a firefighter
that's my porn
movie.
name. How'd you get
Howie
my porno
Long?
name? Yeah.
Oh. Mine's
Howie
Howie
gets so
10
long.
seconds.
How he gets so long?
Howie, stop making so much noise upstairs. You're pissing off the neighbors.
I'm gonna piss my pants.
I'm telling you.
Jake, for anybody who hasn't heard you on this show before or heard your show, go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself, your favorite games, of course your show, plug whatever you want, and tell them about your favorite energy drink or energy supplement, I guess.
Sure.
Think about
but-
your
okay.
supplement. Think about that, Jake, before you.
I got this
give
idea
a chance.
for a show. You guys have never heard of this before. It's a podcast about video games.
Oh,
It's mind-blowing.
Oh.
Nobody else is out there doing it. But we do that every week over at pressbtocancel.com. You can find us on YouTube or anywhere else you listen to your favorite shows. And yeah, it's just 4 to 5 idiots talking about retro games every single week, just like you guys.
Well,
Well, Chard, you do something extra on the side, right? You want to
I
Talk
also
about your
am
side
part
hustle?
of the idiot parade every Friday at Press B to Cancel. I'm bringing up the rear. I'm the caboose of the Press B to Cancel train.
He
But
said rear.
rear end. I'm the rear admiral of Press B to Cancel. But I also do Twitch. Yes, I do stream a little bit on Twitch. Actually, for a long time, I was known as the Final Fantasy guy because that's pretty much all I streamed. I streamed 1
yeah.
through 15 at the time, beat all the games, and then kind of sauntered into some other RPGs. And now I'm the Dark Souls hate myself guy who cannot get past Consort Rodan. Hopefully, by the time this airs, that's not true anymore. But as of right now, the Erdtree DLC has my number. And
I
not
started
like having a date number, more like you're next in line to die number.
It's like that Baby Reindeer show. It's like fuck you and your meat flaps or whatever. I don't know if you guys have seen that
What?
show. Maybe this is.
No,
Have you ever seen
but
Baby
okay.
Reindeer? Oh,
I
okay.
have not.
No,
Well,
That's a really good sentence.
Okay,
is that a
so
TikTok thing?
no,
we don't keep up
Oh
with
no,
that.
is that the
No,
comedian
it's
getting
not.
stalked one? Is that
yeah, on
yeah,
Netflix
yeah.
by this. Yeah. So a dude's
Yeah.
getting stalked by this girl, and she just goes in fucking sane and like sends him all these weird fucking texts, and yeah, that was the joke. Moving on.
Final
Gerry,
Fantasy 1.
speaking of?
before we get to that,
Pure Zero Watermelon Rockstar. That's my
Yes.
favorite energy drink. Sorry, I have to
There
go
it is.
back. Just edit that in afterwards. That's all.
no, we're leaving it as is. It's perfect, beautiful. That sounds
organic.
so good though.
It's pretty awesome.
What about you, Chard?
No.
Shameless
go.
self-plug.
Yes.
I am a big enjoyer of Advanced GG, and I drink Cthulhu Dream, which is a raspberry acai flavor mixed in with a little Rainbow Burst, which tastes like Skittles, which is a hydration flavor.
Nice.
So check out Advanced GG. Drink that shit. It's good stuff. It's good for you.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is
what-
good. They just don't ship to Canada because they're just monsters.
ship
Well, they
to
do.
Canada.
But it costs
just-
like
Oh.
3 times as much.
It's 3 times
You
as
know.
much worth it.
Well,
Jerry, what's your favorite energy drink?
I like Rain.
Rain,
Ooh,
like
rain's good.
rainwater. Oh, rain! No,
Yeah, I
rain,
just go
okay.
outside and I'm like,
I was gonna say. I
He's
also
just
like
got-
weather. Being
Jesus
from
gives
Seattle.
me his energy drink.
depending on your state, that might come with caffeine. You never know.
Holy shit!
chemicals
It's
in the air.
acid rain.
Yeah.
Can't confirm.
Acid rain. Perk you right up in the
That's
morning.
when God's mad.
It's either blood
No.
or acid rain. Something's raining.
Raid is good. I like the orange dreamsicle one. Anything
Yeah,
orange,
orange
dreamsicle,
dreamsicle is that's what's up, dude. That's the one.
that is the one.
It's the
one
Neo
ring.
of drinks. It's no Advantage G, but it'll work. Anyways, sorry. This
That's
isn't my
okay.
show.
That's what it's yours now. We've already discussed this. You guys own the show.
Final Fantasy 1. That's a game, right?
Oh,
Today on.
wait,
How many-
wait,
how
I
many
didn't
of
talk
us
about
here-
my favorite energy drink. See, you
No.
guys fucking stole the
Sorry.
show. No,
Alright.
I'm just kidding. My I don't have a favorite. I drink whatever. Orange Kickstart. Yeah, Final Fantasy 1.
How many of us have actually played Final Fantasy 1?
I
It was
beat
my
it.
first RPG, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my first favorite one. It's probably on my
I've
list of
never
memories. It's
played it.
probably like the one. Yeah.
It's not the most advanced, sure, but it's just like mindless fun, kind of. It's just, as long as you make sure to talk to NPCs and don't blast your way through dialogue so you don't get lost and can't figure out where the hell to go because it's not as like hold your handy as newer ones.
Well, so this is a game. This is my game. I should probably talk now. That's why I'm here, right? So
Yes,
Final
you have the
Fantasy
floor.
1. It was my first RPG period. It's the first one I ever played, and I eventually got it for a birthday gift to finish it. I love this game, and I can tell you why. There's a cave early on. It's where you meet a witch, Matoya. It's Matoya's cave. It's probably one of the greatest songs in an NES game ever. And if you play
yeah,
Final
Matoya's
Fantasy
cave's
14, you actually have a
Yes.
remix in Final Fantasy 14. And I got such a wave of nostalgia, I went and spun up the old NES game. I love this game. It brings back it has the job system. It is the origin of the job system, which is my favorite mechanic from the franchise, which I thought was great. They evolve halfway through the game when you get the rat's tail. That's the whole thing there.
Oh,
They get
yeah.
some new spells and abilities. I love how it's fantasy, but the end of that game, people forget. The end of that game, it goes fucking sci-fi. Sorry, can I swear in this podcast?
Yeah.
It goes sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Also,
minutes
we're
in?
used to YouTube's draconian rules within the first 7 minutes. So, but this game goes sci-fi. It's pretty good. I love Final Fantasy 1. This is the one I go back to play when I know I'm never going to beat it again. I'll just play an hour and I'm good. I don't need to go any further than an hour.
Yeah. So, fun fact about Final Fantasy 1, and people can totally yell at Aaron about this if it's
please
wrong. but
do.
I had I'd heard rumor, and I think this is true. This has been fact checked a few times, I believe. But when the initial studio was coming together to make this game, this was going to be their final push. I believe it
Yes.
was Squaresoft's final push to attempt something, and they were using obviously the Western D&D stuff because that was super popular at the time, which is why the game follows a lot of D&D rules. And they called it Final Fantasy because it was their final attempt to make something that was going to make the studio any kind of cash. That's why it's called Final Fantasy up to 16 and why it doesn't make any goddamn sense why it's called Final Fantasy and there's 16 of these. Well, there's more than 16 if you want to really talk about the offshoots, but it's a fun fact. That game, I love Final Fantasy 1. It was also my first RPG growing up. I remember this fondly, playing it as a kid, getting stuck in the marsh cave and trying and never getting past Astros.
You never get past the ass.
Can't get past the ass. It's always a problem.
Yeah.
The evil dark elf. He was my biggest hang up for the longest time as a child until my adult years when I went back and played it, and then I beat that ass Dros with the weapons that were required to beat him. It's not without its faults though. There's definitely some bugs and some shit in it. Like, I don't know, when you kill something and somebody else is targeting that same
Oh, it's
character
the worst.
and the thing dies and you miss a turn.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do the same thing in
It's
Golden
broken.
Sun, which I still love. Don't get me wrong, but I hate that that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing Werewolf's not
It's
here.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, you'd go on a tirade about Golden Sun. But still, it's a great series. It got me into the Final Fantasy series. I think further entries into the catalog, which we will discuss here shortly, got me to solidify my love for the series. But I think it's a great game, and the pixel remasters that they did, extremely well done. I think they're very well done.
And even all the
Jake's
like
right.
how compared to, like-
Matoya's cave music is
Oh yeah.
Get off the chain.
It's fire.
Get off the
Yeah.
chain.
I just love how, like, compared to other RPGs like Dragon Warrior, which is another one I played early on, and Final Fantasy is like the range of environments you visit. Like, you're visiting Earth caves, there's vampires, there's
Oh, yeah.
sci-fi, there's water. You go underwater for a large section of the game,
Mhm.
which is weird. Like, you have to take a sub to go down underneath under the ocean there, because life is better when you're wetter. But it's just multiple vehicles, airships, canoe. I think it's the only instance of a canoe in a
yeah.
fucking JRPG. It's
Canoe
a
me,
lot
baby.
going on for the first in a franchise. They had a lot of ideas for this one.
They're like, you know what you need for this area? A paddleboard. Let's go.
A fucking boogie board.
Hop
get
on
on
my
your knees and
sea
start
doo and
paddling,
let's
buddy.
go.
Get on the Sea-Doo. You ants, right, Sea-Doos?
Start surfing from place to place. Yeah, I didn't
Quickly
play.
on my hovercraft.
Later installments.
Yeah, I didn't play the first Final Fantasy until I got it on GBA when I was a kid, because it was like the 1 and 2 on one cartridge, and that was
Right.
pretty cool. Like, they made it look a lot nicer, because I think up until then, did they ever remaster 1 and 2 for SNES, or am I thinking of something else? I'm probably thinking of something else.
No, I think it was GBA, and I
think
want to
GBA was the first
say
one.
that was like
Yeah.
Neo Geo Pocket Color or some crazy thing like that.
Oh yeah,
It's
they
been-
did a
yeah,
lot of
it's
the
been
Wonder
remastered a
Swan.
million and fucking one times.
That was it. Yes.
I don't really like it though when these games were getting ported to like mobile and stuff, and then those were translating over into like
Yeah.
other versions of them, because I thought the menus looked like fucking dog shit. Like,
Yeah,
so
the
bad.
pixel art too. The pixel
It was
art
like
for that
rounded
stuff
out and
was
shit, and just like, I don't know,
trash.
looked like fucking
Well,
baby shit.
Why is all my characters airbrushed? This looks terrible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a terrible choice. Yeah.
Was not a fan of that stuff. The pixel remasters did it justice in that sense, where they went back
Agreed.
and they were like, let's just make it look like that. But it's that whole
Let's make it
thing,
look
you know,
like a
like when
video
you're
game.
like, when you like look back at like old games and you're like, I remember this looking way better than this. And then when you play it, it looks all smudgy and shitty. I think that's what the pixel remasters do a good job of being like, this is how you think you remember these looking.
Right.
Like now.
Yeah.
It's like it's sharper, right?
Yeah.
Like they brought up the sharpness on it way too high, but you're like, nah, man, that's what everything had an edge to it. I don't need things to be soft.
Do those-
I want
Do
I
they
wanna
have
be poked.
the shaders for like scan lines and stuff?
I don't recall. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I know that there are some callbacks like music wise. We could talk music if we want to. A lot of they have like the retro sound and the new orchestrated sound, so you can
Oh,
play the original
yeah.
soundtrack
That's so
love
cool.
that.
with the
That's good.
pixel arts, or you can play like the new
That's cool.
orchestrated stuff.
I think-
That was a really cool feature.
How would you play that? Would you do the original or would you do the orchestrated?
I like them both. I mean, I'm a nostalgic guy, so I like the old beeps and boops.
Yeah.
But then if you throw a fucking full orchestra behind that,
Throw a
I'm
fucking pan
gonna-
flute in there, and
You got-
Oh
I'm
my
just-
god!
You've got your old pal
You hit-
Aaron
yeah.
playing them all on a recorder. Like, I'm trying to think of the Final Fantasy song. Oh, what the fuck is it?
yeah.
What the fuck's the do 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 do.
Yeah,
Good
there you
luck
go.
playing
He's
that on a fucking
arpeggiating on the recorder. Let's go. Talent
Well,
Central.
It's one of those franchises where the music is almost always a banger. Like, even the shitty
yeah.
entries in the franchise, like Mystic
Yeah.
Quest, nobody loves, but the music was fantastic.
The
in that.
banging soundtrack.
Yeah, like this is a series that always had good music, and I love the retro sound. I mean, I'm sure the new stuff is great too, but
well,
the original
I mean,
great.
not to jump ahead way too much, but I'm with you on Final Fantasy XIV. There's so much nostalgic shit in that game that, like, if you've played even just like 3 or 4 Final Fantasies, you're gonna be like fucking
Mhm.
gushing over this game.
Yeah.
Aaron,
It's-
you are not going to stop playing this game, dude. I said
Yep.
once to Greg and Beth, I was like, "Hey, man, why don't we just check this out like one time? It's like 30 days free," and that's all I fucking played for a full goddamn year, and we started a podcast because of it.
Yep. Let's just do this one line of Coke. It'll be fine.
Yeah. It's
It's-
once you
gonna
pass
s-
150 hours, you're hooked. You're locked in.
Honestly,
man. That
as
game
soon as you
never
hit
ends.
like the last part of the first A Realm Reborn, as soon as
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
starts
yeah.
hitting the fan there, you're like, oh, the narrative actually exists in this game. And then when you get to fucking Heavensward, you're like,
Oh, it's
this
so
might
good.
be better than almost every other Final Fantasy I've played so far.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The storyline in that alone for each expansion has been spectacular.
And
We're
fucking-
jumping.
I teared up in Endwalker. Like,
Yep.
Speaking of spectacular, how about Final Fantasy II?
So about that
Wow.
Final Fantasy XIV soundtrack.
That's an awful segue
200
because that's
tracks.
not having spectacular in Final Fantasy II might be a stretch.
That's Super
let's-
Pod Saga, baby.
Let's comment on this as well. We're talking about Final Fantasy II for the Super Famicom, which barely made it into the United States till much, much later. I think during the PS1 years, maybe PSX years.
Oh
yeah,
that's right. They were on
There
PS1.
There is a little hiccup of confusion between Final Fantasy II for Japan and Final Fantasy II for the Northern America area
Two
because
here's good.
2 was 4, which was awesome, and 2 was not brought over here because they thought it would be too difficult for us.
We're
Which is
big
not wrong
babies
because that
here
game
in-
was broken as shit. So, I'm kind of happy it never made it over
Well,
until later entries.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring up my co-host on Super Ghost, Beth. It's her favorite game.
What the
Is
fuck
it?
is wrong with Beth?
2?
It is, and she
Yes,
said
one?
that she remembers being like a kid and just losing her mind laughing because she was walking on like 1 pixel of grass and it was all like super weak enemies, and she walked over 1 pixel into like a different type of grass
bloated.
and it
Yep.
was like
Yep.
level 80 fucking snakes.
Yep. That sounds about right.
This is everyday life.
I mean, a game that you can beat yourself up to power yourself up with.
oh yeah.
This game's broken. as
It's
shit.
like
Yeah,
Oblivion.
so
You jump
Yeah,
off of
so the-
roofs to power up your acrobatics or something stupid.
it's true.
Morrowind,
It's
yeah.
true.
Or,
That's the way
uh,
to do
or
it.
who- Which serial killer guy was it that would he would just jump out of windows to like strengthen his calves?
What?
Boy.
The hot one?
What?
The
hot
Like a
one.
real one?
What the
The
fuck?
green river killer. Is
The
that what we're
Green
talking
Goblin?
about?
No, it was the one that
Green
it was the one that
Like
Zac
comic book
Efron
rules?
played.
Fucking
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Put
Doc
Doc
yourself in the
Ock, Green River
microwave and you
Killer.
become the Hulk? Is that how it works now?
I can't think of his
didn't that was
goddamn
real.
name right now.
Talking
He was
about
killing
Kingpin?
people up here where I live.
I forget. I'm just gonna Google it.
Someone's listening to this podcast going right now, screaming the dude's name. It's this guy! Fuck!
Yeah. Gerald, your friends on the podcast didn't know the name of Ted Bundy or whatever. It's
Ted Bundy, that's it.
It's
Are you
Ted
guys
Bundy.
talking about serial killers up there? Because I don't want to scare the children outside. No, it's like that. It's like Ted Bundy. That's a great analogy. To level up in 2, you had to do things. So you had to cast spells, you had to attack with weapons, and if you got hit, it would raise your defense. That's how you raised your defense. So you could just literally sit there and beat the ever-loving shit out of your entire team by yourself. And raise your defense because every time you died and you brought them back, they're like, "Oh, I'm stronger now." They're like Saiyans. Every time you kick
Yeah.
the shit out of a Saiyan, then he's like,
They
"I'm
come
fucking
back.
stronger now." And I'd give anything for that.
I'm lightheaded as shit now. Holy fuck.
I wish
Sorry.
that
No,
I wish
yeah,
I
yeah,
had
that's-
that in real life. I like the amount of times that I got beat up, man, I'd be so fucking
Yeah.
strong now.
I'd be flipping desks,
Dude,
You kidding me?
bring-
Shove me in a locker. Do
We'd
it.
all be
I'll
Ted
kill
Bundy.
your family.
To
Yeah.
reference yet another movie for the sake of an analogy for this fucking game, y'all ever seen The Accountant? There he
Yeah.
bashes his thighs and
Yeah.
shit with that
That movie's fantastic. Yeah.
with his billy club.
He's got the thick piece of wood or whatever.
and he's just bashing his
and
thighs
he's
to
listening to
strengthen him.
fucking metal.
Yeah, he's
You
like,
guys ever
"Ah!"
seen Misery? Have you remember seeing the
Oh,
hobbling
jeez. Yeah,
from Misery?
I've seen Misery. Yeah.
Isn't that a fun
Fucking
scene?
rip.
But he
Rip
doesn't-
James Caan.
He doesn't strengthen his legs, so that doesn't
No,
count.
I mean
No,
they strengthen later, I guess.
But not in the movie.
He didn't just
he's
pop
walking around
up
with
and
a
start
cane.
running away
Yeah.
on those flimsy
Yeah,
little
he's like,
chicken
break him
feet.
again, I'll run faster.
Speaking of
I'm a
chicken,
sand prince.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
wait, no,
Isn't
before
that how human anatomy works?
I almost
Dragon Ball Z taught me all the wrong things.
I remember as a kid when I found out about senzu beans on Dragon Ball Z, I was like, "Oh, dude, we have beans," and I would eat beans and be like,
Bento beans.
"Yeah, I'm popping a fucking
There
senzu
it is.
bean."
Same,
Oh,
yeah.
hell yeah, dude!
Oh, the bag.
Those
yeah.
Jelly Bellies.
I don't know what
He's
they
like,
are.
no,
I've
they're
never
fucking
opened it.
sensu beans. Come
No,
at me,
there's
bro.
cocaine in there.
Did you
That's cocaine. That's my Final Fantasy 14. Keep the
Yeah.
uppers.
Did you say you don't know what Jelly Belly is?
No, I just said that I don't know what's
Oh,
in
okay.
this.
Okay.
I think it's gum. I've never opened this. For the listeners,
I'm afraid
by
to
the
open
way.
it. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a severed head. Sick.
It's a genie.
It's been in there
It's
for
John
years. I
Cena's
wonder how
finger.
bad it smells
Yeah.
in here.
Christina Aguilera, what the fuck are you doing in here?
Yeah, right. Is that a finger? Oh, shit, the ransom.
They're actually like beans.
Should have responded to this sooner.
There's beans.
Ooh,
I guess
Bean
they're
beans?
Eat it.
I don't
Wow.
know. I've had this for a bit, and I got it in Vegas, so could be some fentanyl in this. I don't know.
That's
So that
true, yeah.
means quality. Yeah.
Well, you got it now. You already touched it. We only have 14 more games to go, guys. We're doing fantastic.
Yeah, we are. So Final Fantasy III, right? This one I first played it was the 3D remake on my
DS.
iPod Touch 4.
Ew. You
I
didn't
bought
do it on DS.
no.
How much was that? $50? Knowing Square's mobile pricing?
How do you play that on the roll wheel? Like, what the fuck is that?
This is an iPod
Oh,
Touch.
Touch.
Yeah,
Never
iPod
mind,
Touch.
disregard.
It was like
Yeah.
$15, and I was like, I don't got nothing else to play my fucking Final Fantasies on, because I had I think that was Xbox 360, and I didn't have like a laptop or like anything else. It wasn't bad. It was all right.
It's introduction of the job system, like
Yeah.
a legit job system. I know that one technically had the first job system, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But this allowed you to interchange your characters to have, they had 3 or 4 or 5 main characters. And then that was like the one that had the same main characters, I think, throughout like the entire game. There wasn't like a lot of interchangeables
Yeah.
into that. See, the problem with 2 and 3 specifically is that though the stories were pretty thought out, you would think there wasn't a lot of substance to them to make you remember them until you got into the 4s, 5, and 6s.
They're bad.
I'm not trying to talk
You
shit.
can
It's-
call them bad. It's fine. You can say the story sucks. They're allowed to not have good
It's
stories.
not that it sucks. It's just not. It's it's the difference between Hellboy and Hellboy Golden Army, right? I mean, Golden Army's badass, and then Hellboy's like, it's all right. I'd watch it, but
Well,
you don't.
what?
What do you think of that new Hellboy?
The first Hellboy was fucking iconic, and then the second one had character development and character growth with the fish guy.
Yeah, much like
Remember his
Ghost
name?
Rider and Ghost Rider 2, there the first one's better. I don't fucking know. Ghost
Yeah.
Rider sucks.
It's got Nicolas Cage in it. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
But it's just they were good games. They're just, to me, I unbenefited by playing the other installments later that had really rich stories and really
Yeah.
thought out characters and and loss and suffering and all this other crap. And then you go back to 2 and 3 and you're like, well, they're having a war. That kind of sucks, But then that was it. That was like all you had in 2, and then 3 was like, yo, job system's cool. I remember that.
Yeah, and the
Hey, there
story
might
was
be a
just-
dragoon looking guy on here. I like that. And then that was it. And then you fight a naked chick called the Darkness. So that was
Hell yeah.
Was 3 the one with the items, where the
Sounds like a
items gave
Tuesday
you
night for me.
abilities?
I
Is that
don't
3?
I don't think so. No, I think it was the job.
I don't know.
You got the job systems with the crystals. It was very similar to 5, but 5 obviously perfected and made the job system the
Okay.
greatest job system out there. But it's every time you got one of the element crystals, I think you got a job from that, or 3 jobs from that, or something.
Hell yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm talking too much.
No.
I apologize.
No.
That's the
is
reason
kind of
you're here.
This is the first
We're
time.
tired
It's
of
been a
talking.
while. I've
I
had a
fucking hate
wheelhouse
talking.
to talk about.
I don't know why I do 3 podcasts.
Why am I here? I hate to say things.
Dude, you played Final Fantasy for what, 2 fucking years straight?
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
played
played
it
the
a
entire
long
franchise.
fucking time, and I still play it.
Long
'cause I still love
back
it.
in time. Yeah, I again, well, yeah. This one, how the fuck? What I'm trying to say is, like, I learned about the job system from like this game and like a little bit of 5 and like a little bit of Dragon Quest 7, and then have you guys ever played Bravely Default or Bravely
yes.
Second
I love
or
that
2?
one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that shit is just so fun. Like going from those to like to this to Final Fantasy 3, it's like, man, I wish this was so much better, but yeah,
It's like a dumbed down version of what they've improved upon beyond 3.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same thing I feel about 5.
yeah, so it's
Which I'm
hard to go
I
back
have
to
also
3.
never played 3. I've never played 1, 2, 3.
Hmm.
Uh,
they're good
like,
games.
Started
They're good
like
games,
the
don't get me wrong.
beginning of 4, but
That's fair. I mean, 4 It's a good transition. This is a great segue.
Yeah,
We're
4.
gonna segue into 4. 4. I think is this is one of our hosts GP's favorite Final Fantasy. I think
It's
Wolf's
really
as well.
fucking good.
This is the epitome of like high caliber storytelling in a Final Fantasy game that started like, now I give a shit about things. Now I care about characters. Now I care about these people. I'm actually sad that we lost characters. There's some cheeky bards, spoony bards in there that are kind of whatever. But there's characters that you give a shit about, and they have solid backstories. It's like fucking Miyazaki was hanging out with those people and took their lore and made Elden Ring and out of this. I mean, it's that kind of level of like, holy shit. Like, I don't know. It's unfair to play 4 and then go backwards. It's completely unfair because the games just will not hold up as well. Personally,
Just the opening of 4. You start up the opening of 4 with the Red Wings flying in, the music, the scene, the dialogue there.
Dude.
That's one of the most epic openings to a game I've ever played, and it still holds up even today. And I look back at that versus what else came out at the time, like Dragon's Quest. Nobody gives a crap about Dragon's Quest. Final Fantasy IV was just iconic with its storytelling. As much as I love the later ones in the franchise, you got to respect 4. You have to.
Absolutely. It's the gateway. I mean, it's the gateway that got you into 14. I mean, you learn about dragoons, you learn about dark knights, and then paladins, and then all this shit.
Yep,
Cecil. With Cecil. Yep.
Yeah.
And having him fight his inner demon like throughout it, and then Cain, the dragoon, switching sides, and then it had like your M. Night Shyamalan plot twist at the end of the game where it was like,
is that the one
big
where
bad.
like it got like a huge extension years later that had like, the after years?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the after years because that's like soiling it really fucking bad. The after years are awful. Sorry, if you guys like the after years, I'm sorry. Find a better game. That game is trash. But I mean, yeah, it expanded on like Cecil had a kid, and you played as Cecil's kid, and what Square did, because they like money, they released it in episodes. So you had to buy each episode of the after years in sections. Yeah, it was a big heady deal. Yeah. I tried to retro achieve that and get the badge for it, and I quit because I was like, nah. That actually killed my entire badging career, was that fucking game. Spoiler alert. But I mean, it's the one time that you take something beautiful and literally just shit on it in the streets. That's the after years.
Holy fuck! I love you.
It's so good.
Shit
like,
on it
Forest
in the streets.
Doesn't need anything else. It's fine the way it is. It's like if they take, when we talk about it, if they take my favorite Final Fantasy and they're like, we're gonna give it the 7 treatment, I am going to pry my eyes out of my head with a dull pencil because I do not want to see what they're going to do.
No, the original goes places, right? This is the game where it goes, there's a whole underground world. It's a different map. It's different characters. The dwarves there.
Go to the moon.
Then you go to the fucking moon in a space
moon.
whale.
In a
Who the hell
whale.
comes up with this crap? Like, this is insane. Like, they
I
have
feel
very
like there's a
creative
lot of
ideas.
There's lots of loss too.
We can
like,
always arc this back to Final Fantasy 14. There's so many callbacks to Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's insane how many callbacks there are to Final Fantasy 4.
It's nuts. There is a lot of loss. You're correct, Aaron.
Yeah,
there's you lose Palamamporum and Tello. Sorry, spoiler alerts. Go play the game. It's only what 30-something years old.
It's been remade.
Point being is that this was the first time characters died, and you were like, or were lost to something, and you were like, actually upset about it. Like, I'm never gonna like these guys aren't coming back, and you're used to creating relationships with these people and these guys that you're playing with, and then they're gone, and you're like, but no. I need that. I need that. I like that. It was my favorite character. And it, if you like Palamamporum, then, that's your thing. I guess it's weird, but it's okay.
It's crazy to think too, that like some people would think that like Final Fantasy VII is the first one to deal with like tragic loss of a main character.
Oh no. Oh, they're 3 games behind. I'm going to say this about 7 before we get to 7. And I say this every single time about 7. You know what? I'll say it when we get to 7. Let's keep going. I don't want to drag this out.
Okay. No,
we'll get to 7. I'll do my little speech about 7. 4 is amazing. 4 is easily top tier, top 3 out of the entire series.
We didn't get 4 in North America though, right? Because 5 was 2 here.
No.
4 was 2 in North America.
4 was 2.
They skipped 5. So 5 was stayed over in the Super Famicom, which I actually have in a case. I'm very happy about that. But instead of getting 5, we got Mystic Quest.
Mystic Quest, everybody's favorite
So-
JRPG light.
Oh, happy
Yes.
day. We moving on
So-
up?
Because they said, Japan said, as they said with 2, this game is too complicated for Westerners. We're going to give them this shit instead. So we didn't get it until it came out on the Xbox, not the
PS1.
Xbox, sorry, the PlayStation 1 as a box set with
Chrono
Final-
Trigger and
Chrono Trigger.
Final
I think it was
Fantasy
Chrono
6,
Trigger.
I think.
That sounds
Yeah, it was
right.
5 and
Yeah.
6 in Chrono Trigger.
It was like
I think
anthology.
5 might have
wasn't
come
it?
by itself.
Think so?
I think it might have. I don't know.
Okay.
Quote me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I
think
go to
you're
Super
right, because I
Broadcast and
think-
tell us how we're wrong.
I think Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger were the 2 that were bundled together.
it's either that
Okay.
or 4 in Chrono Trigger. I don't remember, but 4 came out as well with the unplayable version of Chrono Trigger that was absolutely garbage on
Ooh.
the disc.
With
Cutscenes
all
are
the-
nice, but like my god, those
The cutscenes were
loading times.
amazing, but it took 5 hours to get to the menu screen. But we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I can for a long time.
Yeah.
Just like how long it takes to get to the goddamn menu screen on Chrono Trigger for PS1. Thank you.
Final Fantasy V, though. It's
That job system.
I really need.
Final Fantasy V is an absolute sleeper in this series, I think. I think it doesn't get the credit it deserves. It is a fantastic game.
I haven't beaten this
Fantastic.
one
Jake,
yet.
what do you got?
Go ahead, Jake.
Thing with 5 is the job system is iconic, and that's why I remember this game. I remember Gilgamesh and it's X-Death, I think I remember.
yeah,
but the rest of
X-Death.
the plot,
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you the name of most of the characters. I think the one guy was named Butts.
Bart's and
What a
and
name.
other
Bards
variations,
with a
yeah.
Z. Bards.
Yeah.
Bart's with a Z, but it was
Yeah, with a
Butts
Z.
for a long time, actually. B-U-T-Z.
Yeah.
I
I think it was the fan translation I played of this originally. I remember working a midnight shift and I had my laptop and I was playing through a fan translation. Job system was great. The gameplay in this one, I think, is better than what was in 4. And in
Mhm.
some ways, I prefer the gameplay in 5 over 6. But
Agreed.
story-wise, it can't hold a candle.
Yeah, the story it's hard, but Gilgamesh is one of the best like hidden characters who also makes a lot of appearance in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
As
Yes.
humorous as he is in 5. Gilgi is amazing. The
Gilgi.
battle on the big bridge is one of the greatest Final Fantasy tracks ever created. If you want a
Yes.
banger of a track, go listen to Battle on the Big Bridge. That song is sick. But there is a huge hockey stick spike of difficulty once you get to the very end and start getting into the X-Death area where you can fight him. That shit was insanely difficult. But it has the absolute best job system ever created. Characters are, there's not a lot to remember. Ferris, there's a humorous thing between Ferris and Bart's and some of the other characters that are on there. But I mean, it's like they took the technical stuff and made it really, really good, but left all the story stuff out from 4
Yeah.
That's
because
what I
they were
was
too
gonna
busy
say,
doing
yeah.
the job system stuff.
Yeah.
but the
Not
job
enough
system
space whale. It's
No,
needs
no.
more whale.
needs more whale. Definitely needs more whale.
What's other than like, would you guys say the pixel remasters are the best way to play like 7 or sorry, not 1 through 6? Or
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play the broken stuff, go for it. Because I mean, two is I wouldn't say it's unplayable in its original state, but it is very, very broken. 3 is a little bit better, but it's not. It doesn't have like the pixel remaster. Obviously, emphasizes on a story a little bit more, cleans up a lot of things, polishes a lot of bugs out. If you're just like, I just want to play it without dealing with all the issues, then go for it. I think they do really great recreations of 1 through 6 in the Pixel Remaster, and I am a huge 4 and 6 homer. And even then, I was like, they did this justice. I'm okay with it. I'm very, very, very specific about how 4 and 6 were made. They did the DS version of 4 too as well that had like the 3D sprites.
yeah, I was
models.
about to ask that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Like, I have that, and I play it every now and again on my DS. I think it's pretty cool. But what do you think about it?
It's cool. They definitely upped the difficulty in that one. That's like they say that the DS version is the true version of how 4 should have been made and played. Because 4 is broken for the Super Nintendo. Let's be honest with you, it's pretty easy to play through. But they upped the difficulty in that DS version, and I think it made it a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, GP on our team said that's like his favorite version of 4 is the 3D DS version,
Yeah,
which is
hell
wild
yeah.
to me because I didn't realize it was that good.
it's pretty sweet. And then they the boss battle theme for 4 was already really fucking good on SNES, but then on the
Battle of
3D
the Four
remake,
Fiends is
fucking insane.
so
good.
good.
Yep.
That's my ringtone still.
I would
And if you go to Distant Worlds, they'll do like a fully orchestrated version of that song. I wept openly. I let people see me. I stood up and was crying.
You're like slow clapping too.
Kanazo, I love you. That's the water fiend.
Oh boy. Speaking of fiends, Final Fantasy VI. Here we fucking go. It's
This is my first one.
This is the end of the show, right? This is going to be the end of the
This is your
show.
first one. That's the best one to start with. It's only going up.
There's no
thing,
better Final Fantasy out of this one.
Oh, I know this now that I've played this as an adult. But when I was a 7-year-old kid and I went to Blockbuster and took this thing home because it looked cool on the back, and I pop it in, I'm like, a fucking reading game? Are you serious? I'm fucking reading? So I marched that shit back to Blockbuster because I was like, Mom, we got a goddamn reading game here. You think I'm some fucking smart kid or something? We gotta bring this back or something. So we bring it back. Here's the kicker. Then I'm like, oh, what is that thing? I see this massive fucking box. I'm like, I don't care what that is. I'm renting that. So I pull down this huge ass box, pull the Blockbuster thing from behind it, bring it up, go home, pop it in, Earthbound. Fucking reading game. Goddamn reading games. All weekend with these fucking reading games. And I was a stupid kid. Like, I was a dumb fucking kid. So I was not reading, dude. And eventually my mom was like, you're keeping it, okay? This is the one for the weekend. And I was just like, let's fucking play Donkey Kong Country. I don't care. But years later, when I finally did learn how to read, when I was like 18,
Years later. Last Saturday.
I only got my grade 10. So when I finally did learn how to read and play video games like these, I played Final Fantasy VI. And Final Fantasy VI quickly became, because that's the thing, Final Fantasy VI is the first game in the Final Fantasy series that I played, but it's not the first one that I actually played to completion. The first one that I played to completion was 7. So going back to it, I was like, well, how can anything this old hold a candle to something like Final Fantasy VII? And then I was like, that's how. Okay, this is really different than what I was expecting it to be. And to this day, I don't know if there's another fucking villain as diabolical as Kefka. And I will die on that fucking hill.
Absolutely.
Kefka's fucking, he's a maniac, dude.
He's up there with Mark Hamill's Joker to me in terms of like one of those iconic bad guys.
Amazing. He's such a
scary and insane, right? As a character. And like I think you said before,
Jesters, by the way. That's a good one.
Jesters, yeah. Clowns are scary.
You're scared of clowns. I love it. Okay. But you love Circus Charlie.
I love Circus Charlie because he's in my heart.
Circus.
Who's Circus Charlie?
That's an insider. We'll explain that one later.
Everybody should play Circus Charlie, but he's not in this topic of discussion. I could do a whole 20-minute episode on Circus Charlie alone. The World of Ruin. This is the only. It's the only. I would do it alone. This is the only game where the bad guy wins and fucks the world up. Right, like that flip from Light World to Dark World in earlier games is tipped on its head with this one, where he destroys the world and things are upheaved and everything is different. I love that. Just getting the cast back together in the second half.
Yeah,
so
finding
good.
all
like,
your
story.
friends that you've like, it's insane. Like you basically have this Avengers Endgame shit going on where you're like, okay, we got a fucking army of heroes in this world to fight this guy, and that motherfucker wins, and then they're like, well, I guess we're fucked. And then you got to go around finding everybody. And it's like people are like alcoholics now. People are fucking married. People are like in comas, amnesia, you name it. People are fucking scattered everywhere. They don't have a clue what's going on. And then you're like, all right, one more time, one more fucking time. And it's just so goddamn epic. And dude, that last boss sends shivers down my spine when you finally get
a tattoo that I get someday in my life. That
it's just this ascension of just the most bonkers boss design. I don't even understand. Like it's like incomprehensible when you first see it. You're like, what like where it starts here and then it just keeps going.
fun fact. I've heard rumor of this. I don't know if there's truth to any of this, but this is what I read about the Tower of Gods is what you're referring to. So, so there's four stages to fighting Kefka in the final moments of Final Fantasy VI. And what I believe the representation, this is not mine, this is what I've read about, and if it's on the internet, it can't be wrong, that the first stage is the devil, second stage is the people, the last stage is the angels, and then you fight God. That's
Hell
what
yeah.
I have been told in the stages of what you're climbing
shit.
up. So if you look at it through that lens, it takes like a whole nother twist that whether it's right or wrong, I think it's brilliant, like depiction of what it is. Six takes 4's story of loss and everything and just cranks that shit to 11. It is absolutely insane. And like you said, like you were using the Avengers as a reference, right? And they're fighting and they're getting their asses kicked. But what do? They bring everybody back. Well, guess what doesn't happen? It's 6. You just gather up all the same people that were like, you know what? We can fucking do this. We're going to do this. But then when it's done, it's still fucked up.
Yeah.
It's
There's
still
no real
like
happy ending.
nothing. Yeah. Everybody's just like, well, we got him.
Yeah.
Now we have to build everything back. Like it's still like it's great because you're like, we
Incredibly
killed the
bleak.
big bad.
You just
But
see
you're-
Locke
it's-
sitting down watching like surveillance footage of them getting them, like the fucking Osama bin Laden footage or something, and he's just like, "Yeah, those were the days. We got
Those
'em,
were the
Naz.
days, right?
Then we got him then."
It's
Zero Dark
crazy.
30
You-
on Kefka.
and the characters, like you always have like a main character in each one. And what people don't like, but I love about 6 is that you could say Terra is the main character in the first half, then you could say Celeste is the main character in the second half. But honestly, everybody's got such a big story that there is no main character. It's
Yeah.
just this group of people, even Shadow, who you know very little about and then find out later is Realm's father, but you have to look for that, has a story to him that you're like, holy shit, dude, this guy I picked up at a bar that ditched me on the Phantom train because he's like, peace out, bitches. I left my stove on. Like, you're like, oh, okay, dude. Even he has some depth to it. And you're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? And I
Even
don't
Go-Go,
know if there's a single game. Go or
the
Go.
most random
Yeah,
character,
Go.
has a plot
Yeah.
to her, right?
He's a plot
It's
to him.
wild. Yeah.
He's stuck in a cage on a sandworm. I mean, what the fuck, dude?
That's another really cool thing about that game is that there's a lot of hidden shit that you can
Fucking
miss.
Yeti.
Like there's
Yeah.
lots of hidden characters,
Yeah.
lots of little hidden like backstory and like story beats and shit like that. That's
Yeti doesn't serve a purpose, but god damn it, he's in there.
He throws shit. He'll throw your character.
That's his plot.
And he's uncontrollable.
Plot through experience.
So,
The more he breaks, the better he gets.
Yeah. Umaro's fantastic. There are 3 video game soundtracks that are on my headphones regularly at work. Final Fantasy IV,
Sushi Striker.
Sushi Striker, of course,
Of course.
Chrono
yeah.
Trigger, obviously,
Everybody's favorite.
and Final Fantasy VI. And I play those things in rotation all the time. And there's no better soundtrack.
Brother, have
out
you
there.
ever lifted weights to Frog's theme? Let me tell you.
Yeah, right? Oh my God. I've gotten so many achievements to that song. I love that song. It's like my celebratory music now. Yeah.
Fucking dude.
Mitsuno knew what he was doing, okay? Mitsuno knew what he was
There
doing.
was-
But
There's so many moments in Final Fantasy VI. Sorry, I'm interrupting, but there's one
No,
moment
go for it.
in this is the game where they had an opera scene
Yeah.
that actually
Dude, that was
tears you up,
fucked.
and it's all the dialogue, but it's done in music, in that bit style music, and it's just not something you see in anywhere else.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious about the Pixar remasters and how they would mess with that.
Oh, so I'll go on this tirade because I've played it.
Did they
So the
fuck it
Pixar
up?
Remaster opera scene, they use the same kind of background artwork as they used in, Octopath Traveler. So it's got kind of
Okay.
that, newer looking but
Pop-up
still
book.
pixelated background. Yeah, pop-up book background, right? And there's actually voices. They actually got operatic singers to sing. Hold on. No, this is good. They got operatic singers to sing the right part. But when Celeste does her portion, it is not good. which is what it's supposed to be, because she's not a singer. She is put in the place to lure out Setzer to get him to come down and kidnap her so they can get the airship into the shit. But at first I was kind of like, all right, they're doing the opera thing, that's fine. But when she sings and it's like, it's in tune, but it's not good. Like, it's good, but it's not like everybody else has got the opera thing. And she's like, like I'm here singing this fucking song. You're like, all right, I appreciate the fact that they didn't actually get a singer to sing her parts, because that's not what's going to fit with the story. She's not some great opera singer. She's a warrior trying to lure someone out. So I thought that was all right. So I thought the opera scene in the Pixel remasters were actually really well done. I was worried about it too, but after watching it and listening to it, because I have the remasters on CD as well, it does a good job. But you can get it in the Japanese version too, so you can hear the Japanese version of it with the Japanese language, which actually sounds really cool as well, and also the English version as well. But so six is out of this entire list that we go through, 6 is the greatest Final Fantasy ever made. I don't care what anybody says.
Hands down my favorite out of the entire franchise.
Dang. So. Okay. Hey, Jerry, what's next?
Final Fantasy XIV Online, and
you only skipped one bad. You only skipped one good one in the last 3 that you just went into there.
Isn't Tower of Gods in that one as well as like a cameo boss? It is. Yes. Yeah.
X-Death is a cameo boss. Chaos is a cameo boss. There's a lot
in 14
of stuff.
Yeah. Kefka himself is a fucking crazy like raid boss thing, and it's insane.
If you play like his high level raid, you actually fight the tower. Like you fight God Kefka in the tower. It's really cool.
What? I didn't do that. I only fought like
you can fight Kefka like regular Kefka, but if you go into the harder tier of that, you can fight God Kefka, and it is insanity. It's the same thing with X-Death. You'll fight the tree, but then you'll fight Neo X-Death if you play the upper echelon of the thing.
Aaron, buy level up so you can just skip everything and then just start playing with us.
Why do you think I started playing Final Fantasy XIV when I knew you could fight Kefka? I busted my ass to get to that raid because it's 3 DLCs in.
Jesus.
I busted my ass. Everybody's like, you got to play the main story. It's like, when do we fight Kefka? For like fucking 8 weeks. I was like, when do we fight Kefka?
It's so funny
like, you got to get to the DLC.
I got that game and everybody was like, okay, now we're in a fucking free company and we're meeting all these people. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about these people. I'm playing this as a single player game, and sometimes I get to play with my friends. But really, leave me the fuck alone. I'm just gonna do my thing. I want to fucking play the game. I made the game basically look like Xenoblade. Like, I played it on a controller. I don't want it to look like an MMO. I'm pretending like it's not it's basically like I'm a closeted gay man, and I'm like, I swear to God, like, it's not an MMO. It's not.
Bro, I got this guy. I picked up this guy hesitantly. I picked up one of these, and I'm like the dude from fucking South Park.
Smashing chips ahoy into your face. Just
got the fucking the wristband on.
Has an awesome control scheme. It works on the controller. I never thought an MMO would work on a controller, but they pull it off in such a great way. It's the standard for how to play an MMO with a controller. I wish like games like Guild Wars 2 copied what they did. It's just one of a kind.
Yeah, it works awesome on Xbox too.
It's very customizable.
Phantasy Star Online 2 is also really easy with a controller too. Let's reel it back by like 7 games though. Let's do Final Fantasy VII.
All right, dude, I'm going to go on my soapbox.
When we get to 14, when we get to 14, okay, we're going to have to stop this podcast and reserve another 1 or 2 to talk about it.
Yeah, well, that game is like to 15 and 16 and be like 14's its own episode. Please reference episode 2.
Just multi-part saga.
You've reached Final Fantasy 14.
So let's clearly not discuss the remake because you don't want me to go on an absolute tirade.
No, we're just talking about the original.
So, Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will go into places that will never let me come back.
We're doing like, just the original.
Okay,
done.
We will not go into them. However, I will say this, and Aaron, you heard Beth say this on the recent Super Ghost. Beth and I both love Final Fantasy VII. She played Rebirth, and it made her question if she likes video games or not.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yes. All right. So, fantastic.
Utter trash. Yeah.
That's what it should
not
be.
Waste any more seconds talking about such a trash game. I wish I never played it, but I'm glad I did, so I know. Now I know
how bad
it gets.
It's
I'll
like
never
getting
play it again.
tased. You're like, I don't want to get tased, but let's see what happens. Yep, that sucked.
You kind of want to know what it feels like.
Now
Yeah.
I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me. So,
Yeah.
Final
This is my
Fantasy
license
VII.
plate.
Here's-
Original though.
Don't tase me,
This
bro.
is my this is a Chard Monk original statement. Final Fantasy VII
Remix.
to me is like the Beatles. Okay, now listen to me real quickly. Not everybody likes the Beatles, but everybody respects what the Beatles did for rock and roll music. Final Fantasy VII did for Final Fantasy what the Beatles did for rock and roll music. Do I like the Beatles? I appreciate what they did. Do I love them? Absolutely not. But I like their tunes. There's some good stuff in there. I like some of the characters. I like the calls. But do I love Final Fantasy? Think it's the greatest game ever created? Absolutely fucking not. But I can appreciate what it did for the series to bring it to more people to go back and play the 4s and the 6s, because that's kind of what it did. So Final Fantasy VII is like the Beatles in the sense that it drew a bigger audience to rock and roll, or to Final Fantasy in this case. And you don't have to like them, but you have to say, all right, you did some good shit for us. That's kind of how I sit with 7. 7's okay. It's a middle of the line kind of game. It was the first pixelated one, the first 3D pixelated one, so it's a big deal because it came out all 3D. It's got some banger tracks.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, but it's
New Elbow knows what he's doing. That man makes a good fucking soundtrack. I don't.
Yep.
You could fart
It's
to a
no
snare drum and I'd fucking listen to it.
it's no
but I
fucking
mean-
Final Fantasy VIII though.
No, yes, it is.
Hold
It's
on, we're
way
not
better
we're not
than
going
that,
there yet. We're not going there yet.
but- Oh man, you
7
guys are just egging me on for this. Go ahead, Jake.
7
Go ahead.
7 is one of the roughest to go back to and play today.
Yep.
I like
True.
7 when I played it as a kid, but to go back now and you see face to face the chibi style cloud, and you see how some of the enemies in fights don't even have textures,
Yeah.
and you just want to puke in your mouth a little bit. It's got some good stuff. It's the greatest cutscenes you'll see in, I think, the franchise. I love the cutscenes, but
Mhm.
it's rough to go back to now. That's why I wanted to play Remake, is because I liked the story and I thought they would do an accurate job of retelling the story, but they don't, and that's another thing. But I love 7's materia system. Again, gameplay wise, one of
Yeah.
the best mechanics I think in gaming for RPGs. Materia is awesome, and the story is not bad. But man, is that style of graphics rough? But
Yeah,
I love
That's
the
early
characters
stories.
too.
story's super solid. Characters are memorable, but I don't know if it's because I don't know if the characters are memorable because of what they have or because of how forced we are to listen to people talk about Final Fantasy VII, how much they love Tifa, and how much fucking Project 88 fucking Tifas I have to see pop up on my goddamn news screen. I don't care that she's in a bikini, guys. I don't
Yeah.
care. She's not real. I don't give a shit. But I mean, I don't know. 7 did some cool things because it brought some cool shit and it expanded upon it. But I don't know if there's anything coming off of 6 into 7. You're kind of like, really? Okay. Like they really tried to hard with the story, and the story is good. And I'm with Jake on the materia system. I like the materia system. I like the Esper level system better, but I think the materia system is a cool skill. I think there's only one other leveling system that I appreciate that's later on that Jake and I will probably argue about. But that out of all of them, these ones are pretty good. But 7's meh. It's very middle of the road for me. I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I know what it did for the franchise. So kudos to that.
Yeah,
It's
man.
got really good music.
I am
Good
one of
games.
those ones though. I actually do really like Final Fantasy VII.
That's fine. That's good. It's a
And
good game.
the thing is, as I mentioned before, I played Final Fantasy VI first technically, but I didn't play it. Final Fantasy VII was the first Final Fantasy that I actually played, and in a way, it's kind of better because I went from Final Fantasy VII and being like, wow, this was crazy to me as like, I don't know, I was like 13, I think, when I played that game. And then going back like a couple years later and just rediscovering Final Fantasy VI kind of taught me like, oh, just because this one's older doesn't mean that this one's not as good as this one. But I still appreciate what this one did because they're two completely different games. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like Final Fantasy so much is because typically each game is so fucking different from the next, even though, yes, it's an RPG. They're more than likely a turn-based RPG or an action RPG. They have like kind of like the same themes throughout, but like they're all so different. And I feel like that's the cool thing about Final Fantasy is that like you will talk to people that will have like, sometimes it's kind of generic. Like a lot of people I'll talk to will be like, oh, I love Final Fantasy VII. And I'll kind of try to challenge them and be like, what other ones do you like? Because like, that's the one that a lot of people say.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get deeper and it's like, oh, actually I really like Final Fantasy 3, like 3. And it's like, there you go. That's a better answer because everybody likes Final Fantasy VII at some capacity. And that's kind of the realization that I've come to is like, it's just one of those games that there's kind of something there for everybody, whether it's the story, the characters, the environments, the art design, even though again, Jake, you didn't like the art design. For me, going back to that's like nostalgic to me in a really weird, like rose tinted glasses way.
Absolutely.
Probably because I also grew up on N64, which had absolutely atrocious fucking big fat polygons. But like, I like that shit. And I've grown to like,
like them chunks.
I like them.
I love that immersion
polygons.
fog. It's great. Yeah. I'm with you though.
Chard.
Like your nostalgia for the stuff you grew up with, and for me, I grew up with like I love the fucking Atari 2600's awful graphics because I grew up without that first console as a kid. I love it. I know, but I can appreciate the SNES pixel art a lot because again, I grew up with those games. So for me, early PS1 and N64 are trash to me, and they're very hard for me to go back to. Even though I like some of the games in those systems, I love those systems, but it's rough for me. But I totally get it. If that's your nostalgia, then that's totally a valid thing. And 7 is not bad. 7 is a good game. It's just I like 6 more.
Yeah. And I'm not shitting on 7, the original. There's none of that. It's got some cool shit. The weapons out there, sick, Ruby, Emerald, Sapphire, all those weapons are fucking bangers. When they go and destroy the city,
3D world map is fucking tight. You got like the cool set pieces, like that fucking serpent on that like cliff
Midgard
or
something.
Yeah, did Sephiroth do this?
Thank you.
Yeah,
right.
Well, that's the thing too. We talk about like transitions in worlds from like the light world to the dark world or light to the world of ruin in 6. 7 also has that where a good chunk of that game is Midgar. And then the first moment you escape Midgar and you're out in this vast open green field.
Yeah.
That's drastically a contrast from Midgar. It's actually very mind blowing. And there's so much more game after that. So much more.
You feel like when you leave Midgar, you're like halfway through the game and you're like, bro, you're like not even a quarter into this thing. You still got a long way to go. It's really expansive. There's a lot of good things about 7. That's really
one
good.
thing that I've recently learned, because I became a Berserk overnight fanboy this year.
Yeah.
And one thing that I learned was how much Berserk was influencing this game's characters. Not even in just looks, but like in the themes and shit. So like Berserk's been around for a fucking hot second, and there's no way that you can like, now that I've read a lot of Berserk and I played like Rebirth and stuff, I'm like, Cloud is just guts pretty much. He has the same fucking sword. That is the exact same sword. And what do you know? Who's his arch rival? A fucking white-haired femboy with a long, skinny sword.
Griffith is absolutely a femboy. Holy shit.
Like, it's the same.
Like
there's so many parallels. That's just one of many, but like, there's so many fucking parallels. So it was really fun to like piece all that together this year as I became a massive Berserk fanboy.
Yeah, man. And what's really cool about the series too, as it goes on, is that the main antagonists, and I guess even like the main protagonists, they're all really, really memorable in their own weird little ways. Like, Kefka, of course, and then Sephiroth. I always forget the one in 8, Ultimecia.
Good.
Ultimecia.
Leave it that way. Ultimecia. She can.
Messier.
Time.
Charlie
Mommy.
Sheen.
Isn't that what she is? Isn't she mommy of the orphanage? Because that's a plot point you want to talk about.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, why don't we talk about Final Fantasy VIII real quick? Because
what the fuck is the plot in Final Fantasy VIII? Someone explain to me.
Hang
how
on,
they're all
before we get
diverse
into this,
schools.
I just want to say Final Fantasy VIII is not my favorite at all. It's not even.
Well, that's good.
It's not even a
That's
favorite game.
Because we're gonna
of
rip
mine,
it apart.
which is fine. I will say this: Laguna's a cool character, and his theme song fucking slaps.
The music is good, especially for those parts. The battle music in Laguna's areas are fantastic.
Yes.
But explain to me how disjointed that story is that you're flashbacking to some random character in bits and pieces, and they don't explain fucking jack shit in this game. All the kids are related in this orphanage for some reason. Ultimisia is their teacher. It makes no damn sense. And then you're in space, and there's the space thing. Like, the whole game makes no damn sense. The plot was the weakest part of the game.
Let's also take Squall, for example, as being the worst main protagonist in any goddamn any RPG at this point. This man who hates everyone,
but he loves hot dogs. Fucking loves hot dogs.
No, that's Fighter Dude.
That's Zell, my bad.
That's
Zell.
Zell.
Yeah. Fuck.
This
Zell's
guy
cool.
hates everyone. He gets in
loves hot
fights
dogs
with
like
his
me.
fucking douchebag buddy who gets possessed by whatever, okay? But then all of a sudden, this man who hates everyone, all of a sudden, instantaneously, with a drop of a hat, falls in love with Renoa. Just
I mean, I would.
no reason, no sign, no sign.
Denim
Then he
dress,
goes and
that's all it
saves her
is.
out in fucking
Yeah.
space. This
Denim
cutscene in
dress.
space absolutely makes me fucking seething. She is dying. She has no air in her fucking oxygen tank. And then he shows up, and all of a sudden she can fucking breathe. And then thanks to Assess Machina, we're just going to drop a fucking spaceship right where you happen to be at, since nobody knows
my
where you
God.
are. But hey, there's Ragnarok. Let's go fucking flying. This fucking story is awful. It is awful, 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 awful. The best thing that they did to Squall's character was change his fucking name in Kingdom Hearts because they were so goddamn embarrassed by the fucking dude they made, but they had to use him anyway, so they changed it to Lionheart. Fuck that game. Fuck.
I
Wait, he's not
that
called
game.
Squall in Kingdom Hearts?
No.
He's not. His name is
What the
Leon.
fuck?
They changed his name to Leon,
Leon.
because he is
That's
ashamed
worse
of his
than
past,
Squall.
as he should be, because it's a garbage fucking game.
Chard,
I always thought that was
need you to
just
lean
because
back. Check
for
your
some
pulse.
reason, I
Check
was
my
like,
pulse. Don't worry, I took my blood pressure measure.
Sorry,
you
Gerry, go
taking your
ahead.
meds. I was gonna say, I always thought that when they called him Leon, I was like, is it because he looks like Leon from Resident Evil 2? Is this a joke?
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
With a fur
Fair.
coat?
No, they changed his name because he failed his friends in a past life. So they changed he changed his name in Kingdom Hearts because he did not want to remember.
Dork.
Yeah, stupid. It's
that
so
how it
fucking
works?
stupid. That's
Focus.
what
I feel
that's
you
what
guys
I-
are-
Nerd alert.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb. And they make him. I think David Boreanaz voiced him, and I used to love Angel, and now I'm
I
upset.
like
about
that actor.
Me
Yeah.
too. But
Fucking
I can't get into 8.
It's a
Like
tough
Jake
one.
said,
Also,
the
I
story's
will-
disjointed. The system for leveling up
The
is
junction
Oh
system.
my! I was just
It's
gonna
so
say
complex,
this
dude.
fucking GF system can
the
suck
draw
my
system.
fucking
Yeah.
balls.
We gotta get
It
Nate
is
up
so
on
we
this,
all
Imagine
do
getting
it.
a hole in the ground for
Yeah.
fucking 3
we
hours so I
all
can
knew
level my
each other,
stats.
but our guardian forces made us forget. Oops! Fuck you, dude. You literally grew up together for years,
Oh
and you're
my
just like,
God.
who the fuck are you? Oh, it's because of my guardian force. What a fucking stupid twist, man. I'm so happy they didn't continue with that shit. And a gun blade, a gun with a blade. It's called a bayonet.
whoa,
That
whoa,
gunblade's cool.
No,
Back up.
I like
Back
the
up.
gunblade.
Nope. No,
My
it's
entire
not
career
functional.
at Final Fantasy 14 is as a gunbreaker.
Well,
Gunbreaker. That's
you can
from that.
also you can also use weapons that absolutely have no functionality. That makes sense too. Just fucking poke people with a gun handle.
Yeah, but you time the button press and explodes. It's like Mario
Where's the
Mario
barrel?
RPG.
Where's the
it's fucking
barrel?
good.
Where does the bullet? Where does the projectile come from? Nowhere. There's no barrel.
From the blade.
They explained it in the manual for the game that it like
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
hold
didn't read the
on, hold
lore
on.
manual in the
Hold
book.
on.
My fucking bad. I didn't realize this is the back of the book.
hey sip
It's after the fucking warranty.
And I fucking think Dark Souls lore makes sense, guys.
Hold on.
This is not good.
oh my god so it's like the stupidest thing. Well, it's not stupid, but like
It's dumb.
so they explained it like when you pull the trigger it makes this like shock wave and it like makes the blade vibrate, and you hit an enemy and it hurts more, I guess. That's it.
I think I'm out. I think the gunblade sucks now. I've been turned.
I was gonna
I
say,
don't think it's any good anymore.
that sounds like a nighttime toy that we shouldn't be discussing on this. You press the button and it vibrates
vibe,
more.
yeah.
I don't.
It's a whole other genre.
Squall's
of game.
just holding
yeah.
fucking vibrators in people's faces.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous.
Renault's got
Listen,
the
I've
fucking,
played.
she's got
I
that
have
dog on
played
her wrist, launching the dog off her fucking wrist at an enemy, just chucking
What
dogs.
the fuck is that? Your special move of shooting a dog, shoving your hand up a dog's ass and throwing it at people? That's a thing?
But hey, they had that sniper guy. Remember him? Remember the sniper?
Yeah, the guy that was like too
Sniper
cool
guy?
for school and then couldn't shoot the bad guy. That's his job. The man got ice cold. Fucking stupid. I played
name
Final
again?
Fantasy
Irvine or
VIII
something?
for so many Irvine, yeah. I've played that game so many more times than I'd like because of charity events. Thank you for your donations, by the way. And I will never touch it again. Get out of here with that number one ever fake fan shit. I can't stand it. Triple Triad, in all actuality, is the only good thing about Final Fantasy VIII is Triple Triad.
One of the best mini
I will
games
play
in the
that shit
franchise.
for fucking hours. I cannot stand anything else. But the minute they're like, the world's falling, it's like Gwent. The world's falling apart. Hey, you want to play Triple Triad? Fucking let's go.
Fuck
Let's
yeah,
do it.
dude.
Play some cards. It's great. No,
Terrible.
Triple Triad's
Time
fantastic. I said before.
compression? Time compression? That's your thing? Time compression? No, I'm not going to put a nuclear fucking spell and blow up the world. I'm going to compress time. What even is that?
Dude, do you
Get
know how
fucked,
long it took
Ultimacia.
me to figure out how the fucking GF system worked? As an adult,
Awful.
I was like, wait, how does this work? And even after like looking at a walkthrough, I was like,
Yeah,
am I
no,
am I
still doesn't make sense.
am I stupid? Like,
No,
am
you're
I
not.
just
Problem
not
with-
getting this?
The problem
It's
with these
dumb.
games is there's always stats in these games, and for the most part, you can completely ignore them. But in 8, you have to know what each stat does because you junction magic to it. It doesn't necessarily matter what magic you junction to it; you just try them all. But whatever you have 9 of is one you want to use. But it forces you to know what the stats do, and I think that is not good for this game. That's when the stats kind of fail you. And I think after 8, they start to go away from some of the classic RPG mechanics and stats and tropes, and they go in a more streamlined direction, good or bad. But I think 8 was definitely when they stopped doing this. It was just
I think they
insane.
tried something. They were trying something new with 8, right? They were going to try and kind of change the tide, do something different.
It was like with Coke and New Coke. They were like,
yeah,
they were like
Crystal fucking
new
Pepsi.
Final Fantasy. Like, let's go, baby. Everyone's gonna love it. Oop,
That's
No,
what I
let's
was saying.
put real
Guardian
sugar back in it.
Force.
It's insane that we had Final Fantasy VII and then this.
Yeah. And and I'll
Like this
tell
was
you,
the
I'll tell you what,
follow up to one of the craziest RPGs of all time. Whether you agree with that or not, it is like it is cemented in fucking time. This is like one of the greats. It's like you had Wayne Gretzky and then you follow it up with some fucking kid you found behind a Denny's.
Yeah, like the kid from
always
Angels
circles
in the
back to
Outfield or
Denny's,
some
dude.
bullshit. It's
Please
it's
sponsor
They
us,
do
Denny's.
whip it since 11 a.m.
It's 8 was so bad that I wouldn't play 9 for years. Like because I was so upset with
because
8.
9
I
is
didn't touch it.
good.
And
What's-
9, it's a great segue. Great segue.
No,
We
no,
don't
no,
wanna
no.
go to 9 yet? Okay, whatever. Okay.
No, for
You
the
want me to keep going on
for
about
this-
fucking 8?
Hold
Because
up, for the
I don't
sake
want to
of Chard's
scare your
heart,
listeners away.
Chard, I want you to remain calm. I want you to sit back. I don't want you to blow a blood vessel or anything. Let's how about we relax, sit back, and take an ad break. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
You can have
Chard
one more
has been given a
outburst if
timeout.
you want. Yeah, you can have one more outburst if you want.
No, people know how I feel about this game, and you know, I don't mean to be so animated about it, but it's such Final Fantasy, like Gerry said, Final Fantasy is for everyone. I don't know many people that can't say there's at least 1 out of 16 goddamn games that you like. There's got to be one out there where you're like, it's just different. It's got its thing, but no one should like 8. No one. It's like, have you guys seen Land Before? No, not Land Before Time. The Will Ferrell movie that was the remake.
Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost. Yeah.
And he goes, I don't trust a man in a tunic. I just don't, because whatever. And obviously the bad guy wears a tunic. that's how I feel about, like, if you like Final Fantasy VIII, I have serious
Ooh.
trust issues with you. I'm sorry.
See, we've got
So-
two buddies in the podcasting circle who really love Final Fantasy VIII. Nave and Bill, shout out to them.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry
would
we hate your
lo-
favorite
I
game.
would
I'm gonna
love to hear Nave in a fucking isolated chamber, just losing
Nave
his brains.
Nave and Chard going at it, dude. 1v1.
Oh my god. Is he doing like Ted Bundy jumps out the window? I'm worried about that guy.
Come back stronger.
Yeah.
It's just the thing
Like a
with 8 is
Saiyan
it's
prince
good
with
set pieces.
thick ass
right?
thighs.
Oh yeah,
It's a good set piece. What
it's
do you
got
mean
a
a good
great
set piece?
soundtrack.
All the cinematics and the set pieces between the shit, right? Like the Guardian School battle where they're flying through the air for some godforsaken reason. It's still a really cool scene. Squall is
Yeah.
hanging from a rope punching a dude. The set pieces are cool, but everything between it, I can't stand. If the game was just triple triad in cinematics, I would have been in. I would want this going forward.
I will say
It's
this
not.
outside of Triple Triad, I will say this. Final Fantasy VIII is misleading, and this is probably why I hate it so much, is because the opening fucking scene of
Is
Final
insane.
Fantasy VIII with the soundtrack is
Oh, it's so good.
fucking banger. And
Yep.
you've got them fighting with their gun blades and they're beating the shit out of each other, and you're like, what? And she's in the field, and then the feathers come up,
Flowers.
and you're like, what is fucking going on? This is sick. And then you play the game, you go, none of this is in there.
No,
None of
it
this
transitions
this is
from
all
that,
shit.
and then you're like, oh wait, we're playing as stick bugs? Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is this?
the fuck is
Stick
this?
bugs.
Fucking Slender Man
Why
is
are there
upset because he can't get a
Tyrannosaurus
date
at
to prom.
school?
Yeah.
Where are you, Jurassic Park? Fuck.
Oh man. All right, yeah, let's take
All
an
right,
ad break.
Ad break.
Yeah, break.
There you go.
I'll be right back.
Sunny day, sweeping out clouds away. On my
Let's take a minute to thank the real sponsors of Super Pod Saga, the real MVPs, the real stars of the show, the official superstars, I guess, the patrons. Each and every one of you is a superhero, and I really mean that. It means just the world to me. But yeah, thank you a lot. It's so cool, so awesome. Let's thank all of them. Let's go. A Novel Console, Jared Schrader, Jameson Empire, Adam Phineas, Trey, Adam Forrester, Jeff Miners, Jenny E, Kevin Demo, Thrack, Mr. Kwong, Matt aka Stormageddon. Every single one of you are just the best. I'm giving you a big, huge salute right now. You can't see it because I'm a dingus, but yeah, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the bonus content. If anybody out there listening to this wants to subscribe to the Patreon and get some cool bonus content, help out the show, help me, help Gerry, whoever, there's a link in the episode description, or just go to patreon.com/superpodsaga. It's all there. There's 2 tiers, $4 a month. All of you guys, thank you so much, and hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
way to where the air is sweet. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
If you're a fan of coffee and you're looking for something different, I think we've got just the thing for you. That's Bones Coffee. Bones Coffee is not your usual coffee company. Of course, it's all sugar-free, gluten-free, all that stuff, because it's just coffee, nothing added to it. But they roast each batch of coffee beans to your order, and they've got just a bazillion different flavors to choose from. They've got your usual French vanilla, salted caramel, they've got Irish cream, of course they've got decaf, single origin coffees like Kenya, Guatemala, stuff like that, even what they call high voltage, which is extra strength, extra caffeine. But they have all sorts of other awesome kind of out of the box flavors. They've got ones like cotton candy, maple bacon, and even mint chocolate chip ice cream. And they're always coming up with new crossover flavors, like they've done a bunch for Nightmare Before Christmas, Indiana Jones, even Spider-Man, of all things. And they're also coming up with new seasonal flavors all the time. If this sounds right up your alley, feel free to use the link in our episode description and use coupon code SUPERPODSAGA at checkout to get 20% off your order. That's SUPERPODSAGA at checkout to get 20% off your order. And if you're not just in the market for coffee, you can also get some sweet mugs. They've got lots of cool shirts. They've got all sorts of different brewing equipment like French presses, stuff like that. Just head on over to bonescoffee.com, or again, use the link in our episode description and get 20% off. Get yourself a new interesting flavor and spice up your morning routine with Bones Coffee. I really hope you enjoy. I'm a really big fan of it, and I hope you find one that really hooks you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one.
Anyway, everything's A-okay.
Hey Gerry, how do you get your rocks? When you have a need for rocks and you want rocks like right the fuck now, you need them right now. How do you usually get them?
Rocks like pebble rocks,
Yeah, like rocks. Yeah, like stones.
like stone rocks.
Yeah,
Are these rocks getting off? Or are they getting on? Like, what's going on?
both.
Okay. I usually steal them from my neighbor.
Okay, well you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to risk jail time anymore. Allow me to introduce to you Rocks, the world's first and only rocks on demand delivery service, much like Grubhub or Uber Eats, except it's rocks. Uber Rocks, baby. You can get
Hell yeah.
rocks of any size, of any texture, of any mineral. Fucking, I don't care. It's just rocks. You just dial up 1-800-ROCKS or something, and you're like, hey, I need rocks, and they'll be like, all right, bro. They drive on down to your house, and then they'll unload your rocks of all
They just
kinds.
come to your house and they start whipping rocks at your house one by one. You
I
order
know.
you order a nice blister pack of rocks, and they're just like, here you go,
Blister pack of rocks.
and just start whipping rocks at your house. You gotta tell grandma, settle the fuck down. I ordered a blister pack of rocks. Okay, they're gonna be out there for a minute. You're gonna hear a lot of sounds, but then I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna collect my pebbles.
I love the blister
Gerry,
pack
are they
idea.
throwing rocks at the house again?
Shut the fuck up, grandma! Shut the fuck up! I ordered my rocks.
But I was gonna go with just like a dump truck full of rocks unloaded on your front lawn, but the blister pack is so good. Did you hear your mailman dropping off a fucking blister pack of rocks like it's a fucking the dollar store action figure like Action Ted or something stupid?
Action
a blind
rock.
bag of rocks. You never know what you're gonna get. I want that super rare rock salt.
Ooh, oh yeah, it's like a mystery egg, but it's like you get like a mystery rock. It's like ooh, another rock.
Now,
I got river rock sick.
I got
Now,
riverbed quartzite.
if you win the lottery that they're having this summer, rocksrocksrocks.com/Christ Alive, they are doing a contest where The Rock, yes, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is going to be
Dwayne.
delivering rocks on the Isle of Newfoundland, which is also known as The Rock. So we're gonna have The Rock delivering rocks on The Rock, and it's gonna be fucking chaos. He's gonna be just fucking. He's not even throwing rocks. He's throwing full boulders. He's just gonna be fucking throwing boulders at your house. Grandma's gonna be pissed. Grandma's gonna lose her fucking bay window for sure because she's the only goddamn old bitch in the county that has that fucking thing still in a house. But the Dwayne Rock Johnson doesn't give a fuck. He's throwing a boulder through that window, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. Get
That's right.
insurance.
Rocks even has this new special going on. They'll buy your rocks from you. If you find a rock and you don't want it, dial 1-6900 rocks. I almost said socks. 1-6900 rocks. Be like,
This is where you cut to some fucking guy behind a Denny's going, "Hey, how much you take for this crack rock?"
Grandma, do you, no, sorry, Gerald, do you need these rocks that are in our back pond? I'm trying to be like nasally about it too. Gerald, do we need these rocks that are in our back pond? And
Fuck off, Grandma. That's glass.
that's my crack, Grandma. Yeah, they'll buy rocks. That's the thing. I don't know where the hell else I was going with that. They buy rocks, so you could.
We
you could
buy
have
rocks. Rocks.
You could have them. You could have them. You could buy rocks from them, have them delivered, sell them back to them for even more, and make a profit. This is an infinite money glitch, people. Rocks. It's the future. Jake, Chard, what's your experience been like with as satisfied customers?
My wife is an avid gem collector. This is all true. And I can thank rocks for all the rocks that almost burnt my house down, because when the sun hits the crystals just right, it gets a little hot in the bedroom.
Yes.
Like,
If you
I
know
went to
what I'm saying, you know what I'm
rocks.com/rocks looking for some sticks.
Forward
I was
slash
grossly
rock.
misinformed that they had a stick section, but I guess in Canada we have sticks with our rocks, but in the US it's only just rocks. I didn't realize there's a rock warehouse. So I'm kind of a little disappointed with rocks, not rocks.
No, Jake, that's
just me.
Sticksticks.com/sticks /STYX, like the band. Hashtag Christ
Oh, yeah.
alive.
Sailing away. Come sail away with sticks.
No, it's I Want to Rock. Like that fucking stupid Twisted Sister song.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know what this commercial is.
I want a pebble.
Thanks for sponsoring this fucking show.
Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street?
And we're back. And boy, are we back, because we're on Final Fantasy IX. That's my favorite. I don't care what anybody says. It's my
What a
favorite
piece
game.
of shit game this is.
Oh,
Wow.
that's it. Show's done.
Wow.
I've actually never played this one.
What?
Everybody
Really?
tells me it's like a return to form. You have to go
It's
play
my
it, but I'm with
favorite.
Chard before the break.
Yes.
8 kind of ruined the franchise for me. I stopped after 8.
Let me
You
be
need to
let me
play
be the
nine,
first
man.
to tell you. Yeah, I'm with Aaron on this one. Actually, when I went back and played it, I played it for the first time during my Final Fantasy run on Twitch. And I'll tell you what, man, that ending pulls on your heartstrings. It really does.
Yeah.
That was the first time I got mildly weepy on stream, was playing Final Fantasy IX. It's the last boss doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, but the rest of the game makes more sense than 8. And you're like, oh, this is a breath of fresh air. All of this makes sense. And the characters are cool. Now they've got the chibi characters, they're small, more like cutesy,
The design
whatever,
is
but-
really good though.
but the design's
They're
really good.
hella
Yeah,
Like
and,
they're
textured,
not
too.
and
chibi
Freya's
chibi.
fucking cool. That chick is
Yeah.
badass. So there's
Rat
some really cool
bitch.
characters that you're like, all right, these are cool. And then there's some characters where you're like, you can literally go die in a fire and I could give a shit. So, but I mean, the story's strong. They go back to more of a form, like you said. They go back to form with the leveling system and stuff. But I think you actually use weapons and you get abilities from the weapons or items or something like amulets and things like that.
Weapons,
level
armor,
those up.
accessories, all
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. You get stats from that become permanent, that you can change out armors and then keep whatever the stats have from
Okay.
that specific thing. It's a really good story, and the ending is Wolf is gone. What the fuck is this end boss? Because the end boss doesn't make any sense, but the rest of the characters and shit you actually give a fuck about. And at the very end of the game, like, you kind of think all hope is lost, and then they pull the switcheroo on you, and you're like, oh no, that's awesome. That's really cool. Like, you actually like, oh shit, like, you're happy with the characters. I really thought 9 is really, really well done. It's top 5 in my
Okay.
list. It's a good game.
It is
Really good game. It
character-
surprised me, especially coming off of 8.
The fucking progression system is so sick, because not only do, like, each character, of course, has their own weapons, and they'll learn new attacks and, like, passive abilities through their own weapons and shit, but there's also, like, you can pass around a piece of armor and teach different characters different abilities. Like, there's passive abilities you can equip to make them immune to, like, stone or poison or sleep. There's other shit to make, like, steel more effective, or have steel do damage when you use it. All sorts of cool shit like that. And then there's all the accessories. Accessories you can have, either dagger or Ico equipped to learn new summons, and that's also
Mhm.
really, really fucking cool. And what I really like about it too is that it kind of feels like there's 2 characters of each kind of archetype. Like, there's 2 warriors, 2 mages, 2 thieves, and 2 healers. It's weird that, like, a lot of the other characters have really deep backstories, except for, like, Amaranth. They just kind of throw Amaranth in there. They're
Yeah,
like,
Amaranth is such a pile. he's such like we need a brawler character. Let's put
Yeah.
him in there. He's very much an afterthought. He feels like an afterthought when you have the Steiners and the Freyas and even Dagger or whatever. I can't remember her real name, but
Yeah, it's or
like even her
Brian.
backstory. There's a lot of solid backstory to each character that you actually give a shit. And then they're like, "Yo, Amaranth, he's just kind of a dick. Like he's like
Yeah,
the
he
thug
really
that
is.
hangs outside of the 7-Eleven and tries to shake you down your change. But then he's like, I guess I'll come with you. I ain't got nothing else better to fucking do." And you're like, why is this piece of shit with me? he's garbage, but he's kind of like his character design's cool, but you're like, but I fucking hate him so much. Like I never
Like
used
the
him.
Kanye West of Final Fantasy or something. Like
It kinda is, like,
weird,
he's
enigmatic
just like-
character. Somehow he's strangely talented, but he's still an asshole.
Yeah, his moveset
it's
is
like-
fucking sweet. He learned some
It is
really
sweet,
good
but-
shit.
God, I can't stand his character. He's just like, he's like fucking Matthew McConaughey from Dazed and Confused. Be like, you guys be cooler if you did. You're like, shut the fuck up, Amaranth. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to save the world, and you're over here trying to fucking hook
He's
up
trying
with
to
people you
sling
shouldn't
some
hook up
crack.
with. Yeah, like he's like, while I'm out here, I've got like a fucking dime bag if you want some of that. Bro, we're trying to save the world. Stop trying to sell your weed right now. This is not the time. So, but like the character, like the main character and his whole thing, like
Yeah.
when you're like, he just seems like kind of an artsy, he's an artist in the circus and all this shit. He actually has a really cool deep backstory, and you're like, oh fuck, dude, like this guy's got some shit. It's cool. It's really cool. I think 9 needs more love.
It
Nine
does.
needs a lot more love.
And I keep hearing these rumors about a remake. Like it doesn't need a
Yeah.
remake. It's totally fine.
Eh.
Like it looks
It'd be
really
nice to see,
good.
though. I'd be very curious to see what they're gonna do with that thing because
Even
There's,
I'd be fine with like a remaster like they did with 8, just kind of clean it up a little bit, but keep still the same
Right.
kind of concept. That'd be really good.
I don't
Instead
want
of
like
being
I don't want them
There's
to
just
change.
rumors
I
about
was
a
thinking
remake
this,
though. So
Yeah, like I was thinking about this recently. I don't really want them to do like what they did with Final Fantasy VII and be like, here's
Yeah.
a brand new battle system. I don't want that. I want it
No.
to still be
Right.
turn based. I just want it to be like really like insanely cool graphics. And I
Right.
don't need it to
Yeah.
be super realistic or anything. I just want to like, if anything, honestly, it would be cool to see it done the same way that they've been doing these like HD 2D games, but
Yeah.
make it
Right.
look a little better than that because obviously
clean it
this
up,
is-
yeah.
it wasn't a pixel game to begin with, but it would be cool to see it just like upscaled in like Unreal 5, you know?
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
Actually,
Yeah,
there's
the thing
somebody
with the-
doing that. Like,
I,
Oh,
yeah,
they're gonna
isn't there
shut
someone
down.
making like a fan
Yeah,
movie
they've
that
already
they made?
started.
that's a cease and desist
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like with the PS1 games, that I mean, for the time they look fantastic. The pre-rendered backgrounds was kind of a cheat to have really great graphics. Those don't hold up as well today because they're so low res. And I know there's ways to like AI upscale static backgrounds from back then, but they never look good. So if they did do a remake, keep the turn base, keep the character models in their style, but do everything in a 3D engine,
That would
which
be
they
cool,
could totally
actually,
do these
yeah.
days, and that would
Yeah.
be pretty rad. But I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. Is there enough nostalgia for 9 for them to spend that kind of money to do that? Because they're not going to do
I-
another game like
I think so.
like remake 7 remake.
I think there is. I think there is. I
Yeah.
think there's more people that like 9. And I don't know. Someone's going to come at you and fact check me and be like, "Nah, man, 8 was the highest selling Final Fantasy of the PS1 era." And I'll be like, "Yeah, because they all played 7." And they're like, "Hey, the next series came out. We're obviously going to buy it without thinking about it."
They're like,
And
hey,
then 9
7
suffered
plus
like
1
to
is
Jake
8.
and I. Right.
So it's gotta be
Jake and
better.
I 9 suffered because everybody hated 8 so much that they're like, "I'm not buying another one of these shits." So,
Well, like,
I
I do wonder because like 7 was well loved by a lot of people. 8 definitely derailed more than a few people. I know people do like it, but there's a lot of folks like me and Chard who got really turned off of the franchise. Then Square does 9, going back to the chibi style characters of 6 and earlier titles to bring people back. But I wonder how well it's sold when 10 goes back to the realistic proportion
Oh,
characters
10.
again.
I
So I
love
don't know
10.
how well 9 did commercially.
Right. I think 9 is more of a radar one, but there's a ton of people that have like confessed that they want some kind of remaster or some
Yeah.
kind of newer version of it or a remake, which I'm with Gerry. And I don't no remakes.
I'm
Don't
with
remake
Gerald.
it. Don't reimagine it. I'm with Gerald. Gerald's right. Don't remake my games. Leave them alone. I want to watch my stories like way they are. Don't touch.
it's
Matt
funny because
Mark.
that is my full name.
Is it?
So
I'm sorry.
It's funnier. It's hilarious. I don't get
I
called
just
Gerald
I
in
agree with
public.
Jerry on the concept of don't remake it. Don't Final Fantasy VII remake it. Don't rebirth it. Just if you want to polish it up, I'm fine with that. Add a little spin to it, or
Yeah.
even like they said, use the Octopath Traveler engine and make it
Yeah.
look like that. That would be cool too.
Those
I'd love
3D
to see that.
backgrounds
Use
would be fucking sweet.
the Pixel remaster, or
Don't
even so,
recast
we're
Matlock.
retro people,
Dig him up and put makeup on him. That's what we want.
right? Or
Give me zombie Matlock.
or
That's what I want.
Zombie
demake it.
Matlock.
like take the demake out and make it like 6 and 5 and 4. Make it like that. That would be cool.
Now, I know
Demake
this
that
is
shit.
blasphemy to talk about a Dragon Quest game on a Final Fantasy podcast,
No,
but
No,
I'll
that's-
allow it.
the way that they did the way that they did Dragon Quest 11,
Mhm.
but on I think it was on the 3DS or maybe this is the Switch version. You could
3DS.
switch between
Yeah.
fucking the 3D game and then go to like the pixel game.
yeah, a little
Where
2D
the
world.
fuck is this version other than the 3DS? What the fuck, man? Like that's so crazy. I feel like
Yeah.
they should release that as a standalone because
Mm-hmm.
it would be really cool to see shit like I don't know, like Final Fantasy 9 get like this weird like okay, you know what? Fuck it. Just copy Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest 11. Make it look like that. Do that whole thing. That's also a turn-based game and it looks fantastic. Just make it like that. But then throw in some fucking weird demake shit. Make it look like Final Fantasy V and have it do the flip thing. You will sell.
But don't
like-
make it as boring as DQ11. Make it less boring than that because that game's really boring.
Oh man, I
It's
love
very, very
Dragon
dull.
Quest 11.
Yeah, I wish I liked it.
It
more.
looks
I tried.
great.
It looks
The
great.
story
It's
is
like-
dull as fuck.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
That's a good game.
yeah, let's transition to Final Fantasy X.
Jake, is this what it's like to piss people off with your opinion?
Fuck, it's you guys every week, Chard. You have no idea. Circus Charlie's the greatest game. You guys fail to
I'm finally
realize.
Canadian. I get it now.
Holy shit! How do you guys feel about Final Fantasy X though?
Don't care. For it.
Okay, so Jake, do you want to bash on it first, and then I'll lift it up? You lift
I don't have much-
me up.
I don't have much to bash on it because I can't sit through the first 30 minutes. The game is just boring to me. Nothing about that world or its characters drew me, and I've bounced 3 times. I've tried playing 10,
Oh,
and
there
3
we
times
go.
I bounced off of it instantly. Nothing does it for me. Titus is a little fucking shit. He's a little punk character. I don't like him. I wish
but
he
he
didn't
gets
talk
better,
like
though.
Squall.
He gets
Does
so
he?
much
Does
better.
he?
He does.
Yes.
Ha
he
ha
does.
ha ha. No,
Yeah,
I
he
I
gets
can't
so
do
Jesus
it.
much
Christ.
better,
Okay,
dude.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, Chard, let's
so
go.
that-
Let's go.
Mm.
We
Aaron,
got
you
him.
go first. I'll back you up. You go ahead. I
just-
feel like I've taken control
Dude,
of
how
this
can
episode.
we
That's
back
okay.
a game up where the main villain talks like this? My name is Seymour. How can
He's
we
not
back
even the main
this?
villain.
Yeah.
he's
But
not
he's
even
there
the main
for
villain.
a long
The-
time, and
the
then
main villain
He's
is
been
gone.
a long time. As a joke, he's a pain in the ass, and he's not even the main fucking villain. The main villain is Sin. The main villain is your fucking dad. You got daddy issues. You got to go beat him up. You know, it's like Hot Rod, where he's like, "I'm going to get you a new heart so I can kick your ass." It's like the same kind of concept.
Fucking
You're
Hot
Andy
Rod,
Samberg,
dude.
and the fucking dude is the
Dude,
Odin
all of
from
these-
American Gods. But I mean, listen,
All these
Final
movie
Fantasy X.
comparisons to Final Fantasy.
You just casted the fan movie of Final Fantasy X. Andy Samberg as Titus. Is that what you just said to me?
I will watch that, especially if Odin is in there. That's fantastic. So here, there's a lot of growth in Final Fantasy X.
Yep.
People don't see it because it's a little subtle, but it's there. You're watching a kid. Shut the fuck up, Jake. You're watching a kid that is a spoiled asshole daddy's boy, or he's got daddy issues that he fucking did his thing, right? He gets ripped out of his world to the literally post-apocalyptic area where this giant floating space whales again, there you go, lunar whale connection, is literally destroying everything. And no one can stop it. And he meets this chick whose sole purpose in life is to take this thing down and fucking die doing it. She has to sacrifice her life to kill what is, but then not to kill it. It is just to make it go away for a little while.
Yeah, for like 10
So he
years.
has to go. Yeah, he has to go. He goes with this team who is dedicated to their. And you got
But she
Waka, who's
has
racist
dumb
and this whole shit.
hair. Her
Oh my
hair's
God.
bad.
Oh, really? And Sophie doesn't have fucking dumb hair with her stupid
Who?
fucking bro.
Bad plot, bad hair.
Wow, that checks out. No, I think. See, I don't know why 10 gets so much. The laugh is actually really good because it's supposed to be awkward. It makes you feel awkward because it's an awkward fucking
Well,
moment.
mission accomplished. I
It's an awkward
I
game.
feel awkward
Yeah,
watching
he's-
that cutscene.
Everything sucks dick right now. Everything is awful, and he's like, I'm just trying to lighten the mood, but
Yep,
it's so
yep.
bad that I can't fucking. So I'm just gonna do the stupid fucking laugh and hope that
And
it
Yuna's-
fixes everything.
And Yuna's just so uptight because like all she's
Yeah.
known her entire life is just the pilgrimage, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
Going from
Yep.
like temple to temple to temple. That's all she's known her entire life. And Tidus
Yep.
is just trying to help her have fun and like have a great time.
Just loosen up. She's
Yeah.
gonna fucking die, dude. She's
So,
like, she's on her death
Have
march.
fun doing what? Blitzball? Blitzball's the fun game they're gonna
Fucking
play.
Dude,
Blitzball's fantastic.
we
You
just
steal
so
your
we
fucking
just
mouth.
had Aaron on Super Ghost to talk about game characters we have a personal beef with, which will be out by the time this comes out. And one of my personal beefs is with fucking Waka. Okay, I don't like his fucking beach bro attitude. You can get out of here with your fucking seashell necklace. I don't want to play
Yeah.
volleyball. Like,
He's got
how
a
are you
puka
the best
necklace,
character
yeah.
in this
He's
game with a
also
fucking volleyball?
He's also super fucking racist, but that's fine. You know, I mean, that's totally cool. That's a great character to have. You don't believe in God, so I can't do a Waka voice because I'm not going to pretend.
yeah,
But he's
man.
like, you fucking,
We-
you and your
we tried.
machines. Yeah, he's awful.
He's basically
He's
just
terrible, but
like we were trying to figure that out on the episode. I think
He's
Beth
a
was
bro
like, "Is
for
he
God,
Jamaican?"
okay?
And then we
That's-
were like, "I don't think so. He's just
He-
he's like not a white guy, but he's white, but he's also not." And then he's also just like, "Hey, my name's Waka." And it's
Yeah.
like, where the fuck are you from? Are you like
Yeah,
Polynesian or
he's-
something?
He's
like
from fucking Spira, bro. That's where he's from. He's a fucking bro for you, Yevon. He's all about that shit, you know. And it's I mean that. Well, that's the guy. That's
I
the boss.
know.
But I mean,
so
you Yevon.
dumb.
I mean, it's dumb. But I like the game. I the very ending of the game is very heart wrenching to me, where you find out like nobody's real like throughout this entire thing. See, here's the problem with X2 is that though the job system in X2 is really fucking cool, there's no reason that the way X ended, the way 10 ended, there was nothing to say, you know, it would be a good idea if we try and make a sequel to this. It's like, I don't know, give me a fucking movie where everyone fucking dies and they're like, this needs a sequel. You're like, but everybody's
just a
dead.
sequel.
What do you?
girl
What's
band
sequel?
sequel.
It is. It
Like,
is.
what the hell
It's
is
a
that
totally
twist?
pop
Who
punk.
comes up with
It's
that?
like
Spice
Josie
World,
and the
the game.
Pussycats with fucking 9 Glocks and shit. And why does Yuna have guns? How do you become a summoner to fucking vanquish evil and then the next thing you know, you're fucking packing heat? What the fuck? Who thought of that? And who the fuck is Pain? You have Lulu, who is arguably the hottest Final Fantasy character, fuck you, Tifa, ever created. And then you get Pain? Who the
Lulu
fuck
Melons.
is this? She's like,
Oh,
I'm
we're
just
not. We're
wandering
not.
through
We don't need to
Spira.
do 10
You
too.
guys need a
We could
fucking
skip it.
gothic black-haired chick
Oh,
to
we're
join your
already
team.
on it.
Yeah, we could skip
No,
10
I'm just
too.
trying to experiment.
I think
10 is
the general
fantastic.
population
Yeah.
can skip 10 too.
I
I think 10's fantastic. I think the secret boss in 10 is fucking awesome. I love 10. I've played the shit out of that. I've done the penance run. I've beaten penance. I've beaten all the dark aeons. I could play 10 forever. It has my one of my favorite leveling systems in the sphere grid.
yeah,
I think the sphere grid's super fucking dope.
Yep.
And I love the story and I love the growth in the character. And I'm sorry that you don't see it that way, Jake, and that you are blinded by your hatred.
10 is
of
my
Final
second
Fantasy
favorite.
10.
The main character is one of the lamest
It's
characters.
my
in the
third
franchise.
favorite, so I'm with you.
Yes, thank you,
Everything. His
John.
voice, his blonde spiky hair, the Blitzball makes no sense to
He's
me.
a piece
Where's
of
Triple
shit
Triad?
that grows into a not piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then you'd be happy because at the
Yeah.
end he fucking vanishes because he doesn't exist.
It's like looking for redemption in crypto, bro. I just don't want to go on that journey. I don't give a shit about their NFTs. I just don't. Go back to
Shit about their
Blitzball.
He
NFTs.
learns the
Final
lesson
Fantasy
of
X
NFTs.
is the NFT of the Final Fantasies.
Yeah, all of them
No,
grow in like
that's
really.
13. Let's not lie. 10 isn't that bad.
I think I would
13
play.
is the NFT.
It'd be tough if I had a gun to my fucking brain. I think I would still play Final Fantasy 13 over 10.
Hallway simulator? Yeah, Aaron, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Isn't
That
10
game
that
really
too,
opens
though?
up over 250 hours.
10,
Awful.
yeah.
Let me
If
tell you about Final Fantasy 14.
Once you get past the first like maybe hour and a half of Final Fantasy X, which sounds like a lot, but I mean they
There's
do
a lot going on.
they do a great fucking job of building this entire fucking world into this like tiny like one disc game, and it's a little bit more linear than other Final Fantasies, but
Not
yeah,
a little
like,
bit. It is linear. I think that
Oh,
was my
yeah.
biggest turn off from the game. It was just like,
I
wait,
get the
there's
linearness, but
nothing
it
going
get
on
like
here?
you could explore a lot. I get
you
the
are on
hallway
a
simulator. I
pilgrimage,
feel
too.
that, but
Like-
it felt like there were things that you could branch off. Like 13 feels like a hallway simulator. It doesn't feel like there's any veering. You just go straight until you get to the world with the crystalists or whatever the fuck they are. Then it becomes an open world, and that's like literally after 200 fucking hours of the game. With 10, there's still some side paths you could take, and you take the chocobos and you could jump from one level to the next. There had a little bit more. I'm not going to argue with you that it's still very linear, and I get that. But there's still like enough secret in there, and there's still enough exploration in there to do so. I mean, there's a fucking hidden boss that took me literally days to get to fight, and then days to beat it because you have to prepare for it because it's fucking madness fighting that thing. But without like that stuff in it, then I can definitely just be like, yeah, it's just, you start as a bro, you end as a vanish, and you beat up a god, and then everybody's fucking like happy, but you turn into space dust. So
and
that's
Waka marries Lulu.
yeah. I don't know
Fuck
how it
him.
works. Yeah, agreed.
You know what? 10
Agreed,
is that
dope.
generation touchstone, right? 10 is much like 7 and much like, 6 for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you grew up with 10, if 10 was your first game, you're a kid who grew up with the PS2 as your first major console, then I can see the love for 10. But if you're somebody like me who grew up with all the old ones and you end up at 10, I just question why this is a Final Fantasy game. It just
disagree.
It feels
because
so far
I
removed
grew up
from
with the same
franchise.
shit as you. I played
Yeah, but you're
one.
wrong, and that's okay. But I mean, I still
I'm
like it
wrong.
anyway.
Listen, this was the first Final Fantasy that had voice acting in it. You could hear the
Yes.
characters talk, and you can get their actual emotions from them. The scene where he realizes that she's going to die and they're in the pool together is fucking chef's kiss cinematography for the PS2. I mean, that shit is badass.
Yeah.
And then when you fucking fight your dad, you find out that he's Sin this whole fucking time, and you're like, holy shit, the dude that I've hated my entire life is killing all these people. Now I gotta take him on, and you still got your fucking, I don't know. I love my father, but maybe I have daddy issues, and it just really relates to me. I don't know. My father and I are super close, but apparently I wish he was a giant lunar space whale. I don't know.
Giant
It's
lunar
fucking
space
weird,
whale.
but
I mean, who doesn't really?
Yeah.
so we're split on 10, but I think 10's fantastic. It's easily one of my top 3 fucking Final Fantasies.
Hell yeah. I don't know if I can say this for the next one though. Final Fantasy XI, I've never played it.
That's the online one.
Yeah, the first online one.
Didn't
I wanted to play it, but everybody played Warcraft instead, and I had no friends. So I was like, I guess I'll play this. It was a cool
Super
concept
early
that
for an MMO,
made
right?
14.
Yeah.
So I'll
Yeah.
give it credit for that, but we don't have to touch on that one very much.
Anybody else got anything about 11 or even 10? I didn't mean to like push us into the next game so quickly.
No, you're good.
Okay.
The 10, I don't have a lot to talk about with 11, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. 12. Yeah, 12 is
Or
I played it.
12, or what I like to call it, Star Wars with Final Fantasy characters.
Seriously?
pretty much.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God, yes.
Evil Empire, for
absolutely.
sure.
Yep.
It's totally...
I'm
It's not about
Captain
the
Bosch von
characters.
Rosenberg
Is
of
it a good
Dalmasco.
I'm Captain Bosch. Fuck you, Van. You were an afterthought. Get the fuck out of here.
Fucking afterbirth of a character.
Oh, my
That's
God.
good. He's
The
not
character-
so
Bunny
bad.
Girls. Bunny Girls in leather. That's the game, right? That's
The
what
Chewbacca-
brought it back,
The
you know?
Chewbacca's of Final Fantasy or
Oh,
the Bunny Girls.
Fran.
The Vera.
Fran's
Fran,
pretty
yeah.
sweet,
Fuck
it,
dude.
Fran.
Get it.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you right
Yep.
now.
Welcome to the Fran
Fran
podcast,
fucking
everybody.
get it.
Fucking, yeah. Balthier is a cool character. He's the Han Solo of the
Balthier's
group.
fucking cool, dude.
It's a cool game, but it's all about the Republic, and I think it's an Evilly, so it spans off of the Final Fantasy Tactics storyline.
Yep.
Now, the concept of 12 was basically an MMO that was a single player MMO because you had the same gambits that you could control the characters in your party to program them to do certain things at certain aspects. It was very complicated. I think I have
Super
it.
cool though.
I do. I have the strategy guide for 12 up there,
Me
and there
too.
is so much shit in that strategy guide. There's hidden characters, hidden bosses, hidden fucking
The hidden summons.
Edelons or what
Those are
Espers or whatever the fuck they. I
yeah.
think they called them Edelons back then. But there's some really cool shit in it, but it was overshadowed. And that boss fight, the final boss fight was just punching your dick over and
I
over again.
remember
It was
hearing my
rough.
friend talk about, like, I had a buddy and he loved this fucking game. He thought the game system was like the coolest fucking system ever. But I remember he like disappeared for like 4 or 5 days. Didn't hear tell of him, which was weird. Finally, he like calls me up. He's like, dude, I've been like grinding fucking Final Fantasy XII to beat Zodiac for like a week. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, you have no idea. And he was like, this is by far the most insane fucking boss fight I've ever experienced. And like he was like a few years older than me, so like he also grew up on all, like he literally played all the Final Fantasies. And he said, like, to this day, there's not a lot of bosses as hard as, I think it was like an optional hunt or something, like the Zodiac. He said it was fucked.
Let's
verify
that.
Absolutely fucked. What do you?
There's a lot of cool optional shit in that game.
It is the
Keep
story
talking.
for me in that one. The story in that was fantastic from
You're gonna
start to
find
finish.
Zodiac?
He's gonna look it up. Yeah, it's definitely a game that had its world building. Like everything from the different races, the bunny girls and other creatures in that were very unique to that game. It's a really great world. I know they kind of come back to it a little bit with Final Fantasy XIV again. The king of all nostalgia pulled elements of that in one of the recent expansions. So there's a lot of cool world building. I didn't like the lack of controlling of all your party though. Like the gambit system, I just not like that at all. I think I've dumbed that game down to easy. I think I played the remake version not too long ago, and on easy, it's a much better game. To be honest with you, the combat can kiss my ass.
I think you can. I think you can control characters kind of like you can like stop time, and then input commands for different characters. Like you flip over to Fran, be like, "All right, heal," and then they'll do that. Yeah, the combat is really, really weird. And the what the fuck is it called? The license board? That
it's like the sphere grid kind of.
Yeah.
But
but
it's
Are we
not as
talking
good.
about the Zodiac era
Board?
or
Yeah.
the original?
Yeah, whatever it's called. They're both
Zodiac
kind
Age.
of yeah, they're both kind of weird to get used to, but it's a really, really cool system. You can really, really fine tune and customize, like fine tune the play style you want for like a specific style of character. I don't know how better to explain that, but yeah, it's really, really, really cool. Especially if you get the remaster.
But each character was still separate though, right? Like, I mean, you could make each character a magic user if you want to, but they would still be very distinct from another character in your party, I think. Yeah.
I think the Zodiac Age, which was a different release that had a different licensing board, allowed for more cross-pollination on characters, I think. I believe your friend was fighting Yasmat, which is the ultimate mark. It's a giant dragon with like a sphere over its head. It's got Jesus, that's a lot. 5,011,256 hit points. It's level 73. And it's insane. It's the highest hunting mark you can get. Yasmat is like probably the penance of Final Fantasy 12. So.
Yeah,
that's nuts, dude.
He struggled. It did.
I believe
damage
it.
To him.
I absolutely believe it.
How about Final Fantasy 13?
Hallway Simulator.
It's the one I
really
wish
opens
I
up after
played.
250 fucking hours.
This was the shift, especially
okay.
they've been shifting away from classic RPGs to more of an action-oriented game, and 13 really kind of nailed that home, right? Wasn't it mostly action combat?
It was still
No,
turn-based.
it was basically
It was still
like
turn-based.
you let them decide. You basically are.
was called-
It's like Football Manager meets fucking Final Fantasy, in my opinion. Because you're just
Yeah.
kinda like
It's
you guys
almost
do
You get the
this now.
paradigms. You get
Yeah,
the paradigm shifts, and the paradigms have. So there's Sentinel, and there's a bunch of different like things that you can get in
It's
these
like
paradigm
Xenoblade.
shifts.
Synergy.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
and-
Xenoblade, but
and
you can,
do
like,
synergistic
change
shit
jobs.
where you're perking someone up while they're doing defensive boosts and somebody else, but you're not really like controlling the attacking so much. You're just shifting the paradigm to keep it whatever. It's an awful game. 13 is just, it was like, we're going to look at how beautiful we can make this.
It still looks
But not
insane
give it
to
any
this day. It
substance.
still
The
looks fucking
soundtrack
crazy.
is really fucking
Oh,
good.
it's
The soundtrack
really
Right.
fucking beautiful.
slams.
But it doesn't like it is a hallway simulator. You are going one way and one way only until you get to like the second to last area in the game, and then it opens up and this place is full of fucking side quests to grind and get your levels up to take on Orphan, which is an awful fucking boss, might I add. 13
Yep.
13 could have been so much better, and it just wasn't.
So I always wondered that, like when that game came out, I remember picking that up because I was like, fuck, this game looks insane. Like back then, like a lot of what I was digesting to get information from video games was from like magazines and stuff. So
Mhm.
like I would pick up like a PlayStation magazine and I'd be like, holy fuck, this game looks crazy. Like look at these screenshots, and like everything about it was lining up for me. And I picked it up day one. And so did my other buddy too. And we were kind of like underwhelmed by like it was like a really weird reaction because it was like, wow, this looks fucking crazy. Like this is out of control. Like how good this looks. Like the voice acting was really good, the motion capture, all that stuff.
The summons
Like-
are vehicles now. That's cool.
That was weird. That
Yep,
was
that was weird.
see that was the
Shiva's
thing.
a
Like,
motorcycle.
there was
Yeah.
there was stuff that was like, oh, that's kind of all right. Wasn't expecting that to happen. But then like at a certain point we were expecting like, oh, when are we gonna hit like the open part?
Right.
And it just kept being
Never happened.
just
Till the
Call of Duty. Like
Yeah.
you're going here, you're going here, you're going here.
Call of Duty
Turn
is
here.
more open world than Final Fantasy
Yeah.
13.
Yeah,
You could turn
it's-
down streets. You can't do that in this.
it was to a point where we were like, I guess this is not opening up. I guess this is what this game
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And the faster you come to that realization, I feel like the better you can enjoy the game. I, for one, thought the game was okay. I have not played it since. I beat it. I remember having a little fucking sprinkle in my eye because I was like, oh, that's a little touching at the end there. But other than that, couldn't tell you what the fucking story was about. I
Same.
couldn't tell you any of the characters other than
Fucking
Lightning, Snow with his fucking emo haircut, and
Hope.
fuck that
Hope.
kid.
I hope.
Yeah,
folk-
fuck
I
him.
hope someone needs to hold Hope's face underwater.
Yeah, waterboard Hope.
What about
I hate
Vanilla
that dude.
or Fang?
Hashtag
Or
waterboard
Saz.
Hope.
What about Saz?
Saz is cool. Saz is cool as fuck.
Saz
I
is
like
cool as
Saz.
fuck.
a lot.
Yeah,
Little
Saz is
chobo hanging
awesome.
out in his fucking.
And Fang
his
was
hair.
all right. Everybody had a huge hard on for Fang, and I was like, all right, guys,
Eh.
stop being thirsty on my streams, please.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Fucking
there was-
moms are tough. Moms are tough. Yeah, shut up.
Moms are tough.
but there was something about Final Fantasy 13 that, like, on one hand I was disappointed, on the other hand I was insanely impressed, but at the end of the day it wasn't what I wanted. Like
Yeah.
I feel like after 10, after 12, after this, it was like, do I like Final Fantasy games anymore? Because they don't make the Final Fantasies that I want to play anymore. Like,
Right.
Yes.
there's a problem here, and it's clearly not me. It's not me. I can't be the problem.
I can't
I
be the
like
problem.
the,
Not the
I
problem.
like the good games.
I'm
Let
looking
me
in the
have
mirror. That's not me. I see a winner, not a loser.
Yeah. So like it got to this weird point where I was like, I guess I don't like these games anymore. Even though like I beat 13, I didn't play 12, and I came close to beating 10. Like I got pretty far in it and then just kind of lost interest. And that was like that weird turning point where I was like, I guess I don't like Final Fantasy games anymore. Like,
Yep.
I don't know if I trust this franchise to do what I thought they could do all along.
Well, let's also not forget that for years when we played Final Fantasy, for years, if the main character died, you just played a different character till the entire party died. Well, instead, 13 decided, hey, if your main character that you're playing dies, that's it. Doesn't matter if people are alive. Doesn't
You
matter.
can't
Yeah, that
in
was
battle. You can't
really
res the one character
fucking-
with the head.
No.
Nope. Whoever you are controlling,
Persona
if they
rules.
die, that's game. That game over. Game over, and you're done. It was awful. That was one of the things that I was like, "Fuck this game," because Lightning would constantly die, and I was like, what am I supposed to? I've got 2 other characters that have life spells. What the fuck? Like, they can't bring me back to life. We've been doing this for fucking 12 games, and you can't do it now. It was awful, and I had a real hard time.
I forgot about that.
Jerry, you and I are the same. Like, I questioned my love for Final Fantasy after 13. I really did, and I was like, "Is it me?
Because I didn't.
Do I have the problem? Am I the problem?"
It was just weird because like I didn't hate it, but it was like this isn't what I want anymore.
Yeah.
Like, is this what people?
Am I growing out of this?
Yeah.
Or is this just the way it's going? Like, it's that relationship where they're like, everything's cool. Like, we were cool, we're on the same path, and then she wanted to become a nudist painter, and I wanted to be a hip hop dance recitalist or something, and it just, our lives were just not lining up anymore. And no matter how many times I was like, I'm totally cool with you painting in the nude in front of people, that's dope, I'm gonna go beatbox on this cardboard box over here in the street. It wasn't making up. I needed someone to spin on their hat
street
with
for
me.
money.
Yeah, you know.
But that's the trend with this game, right? 13 was that they've been shifting before that, right? Let's honestly, after 7, Square has slowly been taking what they consider an RPG into a different genre at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it really took off with 13 and moving up into 15 and what 16 is. I don't even think you can call 16 an RPG these days because of the shift that Square has done. Square has pretty much said, if you want a classic JRPG, you need to look at a different franchise now. Yep. What they consider Final Fantasy is this action cinematic style.
Yoshi P has basically said, we're doing action from here on out. If you want turn-based, go somewhere else. Like, that's the way it is.
I trust in Yoshi P, though, and let this be a magnificent transition into Final Fantasy XIV, because I did not know. Okay, so Final Fantasy XIV has been out for fucking over a decade, and it was not good when it came out. I remember when that thing came out, and it was free for PlayStation 3 players for like a month or something. They were like, here you go, you get to try it out for free. And I remember downloading it and being like, wow, this is fucking bad. Then along comes Yoshi P.
No thanks.
And he comes in and goes, oh yeah, well, I can clean this up, but I want full control. Like, I want to manage this whole thing. I want to create my own team. I want to hire my own people, and I want to restart this whole thing. So that's literally why it was called A Realm Reborn. He took it and went, no, I'm going to make this good. I have a vision for this. And they were like, sure, fucking here you go. And I feel like it wasn't until like A Realm Reborn, people were actually like, oh, you know what? This could be pretty good. Like, people were starting to hook onto it. Heavensward was when people, like, the internet started going, we better start paying attention to this thing because this is fucked. Like, I kept hearing about how crazy Final Fantasy XIV was for its stories and stuff, and I was like, come on, the MMO? No, I'm not touching that.
Right.
And years, just like, it kept seeping in, and I was like, no, I'm not playing an MMO. I do not like MMOs. I don't like WoW. I've never played an MMO. I don't want it's visual diarrhea on the screen. I don't want it. And then years later, I finally am talking to Greg and Beth. We're talking about playing a game together during the pandemic, and that came up. I don't know. I can't remember which one of us suggested it, but it was free. It was free to try. You know? Just rub your nose in a little bit of cocaine and just see what happens.
Heroin's free to try too if you find it in the right spot.
Yeah, just throw it in your gums a little bit and give it a little tasty taste. And that is what happened. We started playing that thing, and it was like, oh, this is fun. We're playing like an RPG together. It's like we created our own characters. We created like our own backstories and shit. And like we just, you pick your classes and stuff. And it was like, oh, this is way different than I was expecting it to be. Like, the battle system was fun. Like, getting like rotations
like a puzzle
and stuff.
It's really cool.
It's really neat. And like the more you play it, the more rewarding it is. And I don't know if there's another game like that in this series where the more you play, and I mean, like, I'm not talking about like, oh, the more you play this 80-hour game. No, fuck no. The more you play this entire franchise of like This is a separate entity of Final Fantasy as far as I'm concerned, because each one of those games, and I call them games. They're not expansions to me. They're games. A Realm Reborn, Heaven's Word,
Blood something.
Bloodstorm,
Desert Blood or something.
Desert Blood.
Desert Storm.
No.
Shadowbringers, and then
Stormblood.
Endwalker.
Endwalker,
Stormblood, yeah. Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker. Those fucking games, I truly believe, and I played a lot of Final Fantasy games. I haven't played them all, but I played a lot. And I played enough to know these are some of the greatest RPG stories ever told.
Yep. Or
Hands down.
reimaginings
I will
of them.
fucking die on this hill.
Me and I think Jake and I share a similar feeling on 14 because we are from the era of its release to now. Like, we've followed it all the way through its birthing since 89 or whenever it came out. And you get to see these characters that we've... Is it 88 or 89? I forget when it came out. But
I think it's 89.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Final Fantasy 14.
no, I'm
Yeah,
talking
bro,
about the
well,
first Final Fantasy release. No. And seeing the recreations. We're fucking old. Leave us alone.
That's a
But
legacy.
we're seeing like the recreate, like you fight the Warrior of Light in Shadowbringers
Yeah.
at one point as
That's
one
cool.
of the raid bosses. You fight Chaos. You fight, like we could say, Kefka, X-Death, all those guys, and you're like, these are so cool. And like you said, the raid battles isn't just all of us. It's not some dude like yelling at you, make sure you fucking cast your spells, so you do it right, like on WoW.
No.
Or I was at SWG. I played Star Wars Galaxies for a long time. This was a game you could play by yourself. And honestly, for the most part, a very helpful community. I only ran into a few trolls in the community of Final Fantasy 14.
Same.
And the other good thing about this is you didn't have to be one thing. You could start out as a Dragoon, aka floor tank, or you can switch up to a white mage or a blue mage or a red mage or whatever
whatever
and
the fuck
change
you
on the
want, yeah.
fly before
That's
you
cool.
go into anything. You could play any character you wanted to. So you were never committed to something, because you could be like, I don't want to do a tank today. And you just go fucking tank shit. I want to be DPS today. Then you fucking DPS. You could do all of that stuff all in the same game. And then you could go fishing and go fucking crafting and do all that. I don't want to get into any fights today, but I'd like to go gather some things to craft some things. So you could do that MMO style of shit as well. There is so much to do in that game. I had to quit playing because I had a job and a wife and 2 dogs.
Yeah.
I can't commit to it anymore like I used to. But it is a phenomenal game that
How far have you gotten?
I finished what's the third one before End Waker? Shadowbringers. I finished Shadowbringers.
And
I
Selk
haven't played
is one
any
of
of
the
the-
coolest fucking villains ever.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I have the Shogun guy statue here.
Hien? Oh man.
That's cool.
That's pretty
Oh
cool.
fuck yeah. That's
Yeah,
fucking
like,
Xenos, isn't it?
There was a hot minute where I was playing on pretty much every MMO just to try it out to see if I liked it or not. But I'm telling you, Final Fantasy 14 is the one where other MMOs take ideas from Final Fantasy 14. It's been around long enough and it innovated in so many areas. When you say you're short on time, like that's my issue with these things. I don't have the time to spend on these. But with 14, I can hop on for 20 minutes and do one of the trials, which is an epically huge boss battle in a self-contained arena. And it only takes you 20 minutes to do one. And it's
not
with
a
pugs.
huge
It's
commitment.
random. Yeah, it's random people, and it's a short, bite-sized gameplay, and you can play with the controller. But also just like the amount of dungeons. Like I played Guild Wars 2 for quite a while, and I like Guild Wars 2, but it's taken them like years to come up with a new dungeon. I think there's like 6 in the game total. How many dungeons does Final Fantasy 14
Oh,
have?
shit.
Dozens?
It's
Dozens
like-
of them?
Jake,
content
we were
is insane.
we watched the Video Game Awards last year together, and we did our podcast on that, and the thing's still getting awarded for shit
Yeah.
this late in the game. I mean, like you said, it's been around for like a decade at least, and it's still getting best whatever. You got to say that Final Fantasy 14 probably has one of the, next to No Man's Sky, redemption stories in gaming
I
out
think
there.
so.
And if you
I
want to
truly
talk, I mean,
believe
as MMOs go, huge redemption story in that. Like No Man's Sky is its own thing. Obviously, it's still doing its thing. It's still kicking ass. But for MMOs, I mean, WoW is still there. and it will always be there because it's WoW, but it is not going to have the draw that FF14
No.
has.
Yeah.
And it touches so well on that nostalgic bone for me and Jake and people like us that are like, I want to fight Kefka. I want to fight X-Death. I want to fight things that
Well,
and see
in-
how their
in the
renditions are.
last bit of Endwalker. So like the part that connects Endwalker to Dawn Trail, like the newest one that just came out,
Mhm.
that is all about Final Fantasy IV.
Right.
And the whole thing is fighting Golbez.
Right. Oh,
That's awesome.
God.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
And
Fuck.
like it gives
Stop.
like this backstory
Stop.
on Golbez.
Put the coke away, man. I can't do it. I've been clean for like 3 fucking years, man. Don't bring me
it.
back.
Just
bring me
fucking
back.
do
I
it.
can't. I can't
Just have a
afford it right
sniff.
now.
Speaking of sniffs, how about Final Fantasy 15?
15, you know,
This game-
15 gets a lot of fucking hate, and it's messy
Yeah.
because it's the first action MMO or first action RPG that they released outside of 13 and the paradigm shift. I like it. I think it's the boy band traveling road thing and driving around and whatever. It is what it is, but it's fun for what it is. The story's not great. The characters are shallow, but it was a fun ride, literally and metaphorically. Like you can upgrade the car and you can go
Hang out
off
with the
road and do all
boys.
kinds of cool shit. But yeah,
It's
it's a
Stand By
boy,
Me, the
it's-
game.
It is. It's Stand By Me. You guys want to see a dead body or an Animantois? Like that's what it's
Hey,
about,
nah.
and it's fucking cool. Now I've got a new
Check out this
recipe.
dead
I fucking
body.
love that shit. You know, it was a good game. It's not my favorite. I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever. Like I said, and I felt the twist at the end was like, huh? Like you go
That's
into
cool.
a
That's
coma.
modern day. I really like that it's
Yeah.
modern day. You can go to like gas stations and
Yeah.
shit and like a car wash. Just to, like
Sid's
I could do
mechanic,
this-
yeah.
Yeah.
I could do this in real life if I
Fucking-
wanted to, but fuck it. It's Final Fantasy. Faraga
Yeah.
isn't, I don't know, the Final Fantasy terms.
It's yeah. It's
The
a
first
cool game.
2/3
that-
of the game is great, but once you get to the third and they do the time skip, that's when they
Yeah.
kind of lose you. If they just
That's-
stuck to
yeah.
the tone of the first 2/3 of the game, I think it would have been a lot more better received.
because you like pop out of a coma and you're like, oh, it's been like 50 years. You're like, what the fuck? And then everything's fucked up and you're going back to your town to go like win it back from Adrian or whatever. But you're like, it's very like 8 in the sense of, oh, we'll just skip things ahead and just we'll just make it all fucking chaos. They go up there with the brooms and the maps and they'll go fucking clean up the
maps.
mess and everybody will be fucking happy. You're like, what? Where did this come from? Like, it didn't make it like. It totally lost me at the time skip. Whereas, like, he's got a goatee. Where
And
did the fuck he get a goatee from? What the fuck happened?
And
He
I
was just
wasn't-
there,
yeah.
and then Bahamut came, and what the fuck's going on? So,
I'm not a big fan of how they tried to make this whole like, I guess not expanded universe, but like they were like, oh, in order to get the full story, you gotta watch the anime and then play these like 14 DLCs and then watch this movie and like that's not cool. No, put it in the game.
it-
That's why I bought the
and
I
that was
bought the
kind of
game
like-
to
they did
get
the
the whole
episodic
experience.
thing with that too. So you're like, we're gonna shove these things in between, but you got to go buy them. You're like, come on,
yeah,
man, just
the
make
DLC
it a
was
game.
disappointing because they added character specific abilities to each of the DLCs, focus on a different party member, and they were really well done. They're really fun, really cool. Enough that they should have been part of the base game. They should have went back
Exactly.
retroactively and added the character specific stuff to every character. Because otherwise, it's just the main character show, and the rest are just afterthoughts.
Right.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not as bad
I'm
as people think,
Noctis,
but it's
I'm
it's
grumpy.
definitely.
but I have a ring and I can fly. You're like, what the fuck?
I can fly. Yeah.
Who the hell are you? I'm collecting these fucking ancient
Do you
weapons. and they
remember
spin around? And it's
when-
really neat.
There was like this fucking crazy, mysterious mist all about the Final Fantasy stuff when it was like, this is Final Fantasy versus 13.
Oh, that was forever ago.
You
I
remember that? Because that
remember
was the
following that
fucking
around
game
back in
that it-
2011, dude.
Yeah. Like after 13 got announced, they were like, oh, there's another game called Versus 13 that's going to be like totally different. It's going to be fucking crazy. People are going to be losing their minds and shit.
There's gonna be
It's
lots
like
of booze, so much more dope than you could
fucking
smoke.
fire trucks, there's cocaine everywhere, not laced with fucking fentanyl. It's just a
Monster
furious-
Jam. Sunday. Final Fantasy.
Noctis.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't that.
I liked how
No, it
the
wasn't.
summons
Yeah.
were like gigantic though. That's really, really fucking
The
cool. They had these
summons were-
gigantic
the set
fucking
pieces.
summons.
I
Like
did not
gigantic
care
enemies
for
too, like the
I
Edementoids.
didn't
Yes!
care for the time thing. Like it was like
It was stupid.
maybe now you'll get Odin. Like maybe now
Yeah.
Ruma will show up. You're like, dude, get my ass kicked right now, please. And it's like, here's a little line. It's getting closer to.
Yeah.
Please save me, for Christ's sake. Please come down and save me. Hit this motherfucker with a lightning bolt. And
Yeah.
sometimes it would happen, and other times you die. And you're like, how do I get these guys out here? And I guess there's some kind of trigger that you can do that
I
you
just
don't know
pictured
what they
Noctis
are.
like on his phone, like, buddy, Shiva. Like
Hey, yo,
I'm
Leviathan.
fucking, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
fucking. He's fucking coming at me, bro.
You told me to meet you here. Why aren't you
Hey,
here
Ma,
yet?
where the fuck is Leviathan at?
I think
I'm
Titan got
about to get
kidnapped.
smashed. Fucking.
But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did the same system, right? Where you're basically
Yeah.
waiting at a whim for the summon to show up.
Yeah.
And that does
Yep.
take some power out of you, but they do it for a reason, for balance, right? Because in the older games, summons were the be-all and end-all of power. That you were constantly spamming them. In this, they force you not to do that.
Yeah,
And I
because
kinda get it.
Carbuncle is such
That's
a threat.
true.
Yeah,
Leave
powerful, you know
Carbuncle
he is.
alone.
Yeah.
Carbuncle.
Fucking goddamn
John Arbuckle.
it. Sean
Now you want to
Car-
talk about a good Final Fantasy though? That
Garfield.
was good for a bit and then not good for a little bit and then was good again for a bit and then was kind of not good for the last little bit. Final Fantasy 16.
You are talking 16. All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a brief tirade here because we're up against it here on time. I think 16 is a great concept. It's a beautifully done action game. It's got the Devil May Cry people that did the action, and that's fucking cool because Devil May Cry is dope as fuck.
And it works really
Don't
good.
at me. Amazing game. What I don't fucking like, Yoshi P, and I'm talking to you, is if you put fucking side quests about collecting fucking flowers and fucking potions in the middle of an epic fucking war where I turn into an Eidolon or a fucking, what do they call them there? I think they're called Eidolons. Whatever.
Icons.
Icons, thank you. Where I'm a fucking icon and I'm thrashing the shit
A Def
out of
Jam icon?
fucking, yeah, like, I'm like the most deaf of fucking demons or some shit, just ripping, shredding things apart, which the fights are dope as fuck. And then I'm
Yeah.
done doing that. I find out I'm Ifrit. Holy shit. I'm one of them. I can turn into a fucking icon. How dope. And you get back to your little fucking base and they're like, hey, can you go pick some flowers for me? No,
Yeah, I
dude.
know.
Go pick
The
your own
side quests
goddamn
were
flowers,
fucking
bro.
dumb.
I've got fucking demons to kill.
Here's the thing. You have to treat that game like a fucking character action game and not think about
Right.
it like an RPG.
Yeah.
You don't veer off the beaten path. You can, but there's not really much reward to
You're
it.
talking to the
So
wrong
you-
dude. Someone asked me to do something. I go, maybe there's a super weapon out of it, and then it's like, no, your
Nah.
potions are
Maybe there's
like
bonus
2%
XP.
stronger. Yeah, no, fucking stupid.
But
That's the
That
shift of
Titan
the
fight.
franchise now. It's not an RPG anymore. Now it's an action game, and that's
Which
just
is
you have
fine.
to grasp.
And
But
I
that's the
commit to
thing.
that.
the Titan fight, spoiler alert, is one of the
Dope.
craziest fucking
That
fights
fucking
ever.
fight is so
It was
cool.
like a goddamn God of War boss fight with like, it was insane. I couldn't, like, my mouth was on the fucking floor the whole
I
time.
recorded it. I recorded that whole fight because it was
It
so
was
fucking
insane. Couldn't even comprehend what I was seeing. I was like, this is fucked. How is this a Final Fantasy boss? Like,
cool. Right.
this
He
is like
ripping
one of
his
the most
arms off and shit too.
Yes, dude. It
It's
was like
nuts.
fucking crazy.
Really? Holy
Aaron,
shit.
Yeah.
you have to look this shit up because
This
it is like,
fucking the
it doesn't
Garuda
make
fight,
sense.
The Bahamut fight where you and Phoenix
Oh.
fucking merge and you're like in space. This shit is so cool.
Yeah.
Like it is so fucking cool. But the goddamn thing that just loses the edge for me is if
It's the
I
side
am
quests.
in the middle of doing stuff, don't fucking ask me to go pick rocks by the fucking river.
Rocks,
for
rocks,
you.
rocks.com.
Rocksrocks.com, yeah.
Not to be confused with rocks sticks. But I mean, seriously, if you've got this epic,
Rocks.sticks.com.
beautiful fucking fight, these awesome battles, and they are epic, like to a scale that I
God.
did not think imaginable. And then you're done with that, and they're like, "Hey, this fucking blacksmith has an argument. You need to go settle for him." No, I don't.
Yeah.
you need
I
to go
don't
serve up
have
his
time
divorce
to
papers.
fucking have these guys. Yeah, go sign these divorce papers. Or go marry these two people. They need a fucking justice of the peace.
But
Like,
how
bro,
fucking good is Torgal?
Torgal's fucking king of that
Dude.
game.
Fucking Torgal.
I'm all
Now-
about Torgal.
Beth hated Jill. Thought she was the most fucking vanilla, bland ass
Really?
character.
I mean, I
Yeah.
get she's pretty bland, but she's all right.
I thought she was good. I thought she was like kind of charming and sweet, and
Yeah.
just like likable. She's
got
didn't really
your
serve
back,
a
bro.
lot of
She's
purpose.
like ride or die.
Yeah, but like, yeah, man. I don't know. There was something about that game that was like, if this is Yoshi P's first attempt outside of Final Fantasy XIV, if they keep just going, here you go, here's money,
Oh, I'm
make
with
more
it.
of these. Holy fucking
Yeah.
shit! Like,
It's definitely
just let
for a
him
new-
be the Kojima of fucking Final
Yeah.
Fantasy.
I mean,
Huge
it's a
storyteller,
new,
huge.
it's a new fucking gig, and his shit is dope. But he's adding too many MMO aspects into it that make me lose my focus. I bought that the day it came out. I've bought almost every Final Fantasy that it's come out the day it came out. I've been to midnight sellings for shit. I've done all of it. I went on a cruise and bought it the day I went on the cruise and played it before I left for the cruise because I wanted to play it so damn bad, and it was great. Everything
The
was
opening
so
of that
fantastic.
game is fucked.
Right? It's twisted and dark, and they say fuck. They say shit. They're cursing in a Final Fantasy game, and you're like, what am I fucking playing? This is amazing.
People are getting like mashed
like
by
growing
fucking
old with me.
rocks.com and like guts
Yeah.
are going everywhere. Like,
it's
it is
crazy how cool
fucked.
it is. And then I gotta go pick up fucking stones for some bitch because she can't find her purple flowers. Take the MMO elements out of it. Take that stuff out of it and just do the fucking Elden Ring story, fucking epic ass battles, and just stick to that.
you could
If you
still
want me
have
to
the
find
exploration.
something,
You could still
do the
have that.
hunts. Do the
Yeah.
hunts.
Do
Put
the
hunts in
hunts.
there. I'm fine with that. But
Get
don't
the
make
fuck
me go
outta here
pick
with these fucking
flowers.
side quests. And like Beth was like, "Oh, you got to go do this side quest. It's so cool. Like, there's a little bit of like tidbit of information." I was like, I couldn't
Mm-mm.
care
Yeah.
at all less.
I
Like,
still
there's
haven't
no
finished
way I
it.
could care less.
Every time I'll get through a chapter and then I can't finish it, and I'm like, I'm so done picking flowers for people and looking for
At
leaves.
a certain point, you have to just realize this is a character action game with some
Yeah.
MMO shit tacked on.
Yeah,
Just
I
play it
know.
as a character action game. That's
I
it.
need to stop doing the side quests, but Jake knows me too well to be able to just say.
But
I
if you
can't.
want
That's-
that RPG
can't do
style
it.
gameplay, you have to go back to 14.
So
Chart.
Final
That's what it
Fantasy
is going
17.
forward.
What do we think?
it's
No,
gonna
we gotta
happen.
wrap it up, man.
It's gonna be
We
like
do
a
have to wrap it
football
up.
football manager sim. It's like an Excel sheet, numbers.
No more
The
tactics.
only thing I'll say
Jesus.
before we go is that my favorite Final Fantasy spinoff is Secret of Mana.
Man is good. That's Final Fantasy Adventure.
Is
which
it good
Sword
though?
of Mana. He doesn't like
Secret of
it.
Mana?
let's
Mana's good.
No,
Secret of
Man,
Mana.
that's a whole
awesome.
other episode. No,
Let's-
I'll save my words. That's a different episode.
I defer.
It's
I
not.
defer to answer.
Yeah, let's do this. Jake, what's your favorite final? We're just gonna go around and say our favorite Final Fantasy. Jake, what's your favorite?
Favorite Final Fantasy, hands down, is 6. 6 will always be the game I can go back to and just love to play.
Same with
But,
you, Chard.
yeah.
It's hard to argue with that one. It's fucking epic in every way, shape, or form, and it's the pixel art, which I like the pixel art look. So
Oh,
the
Jerry's
pixel
dead.
remasters are incredible for those first 6 of the games. So I cannot argue with 6. 6 is actually my all-time favorite game, period. So it's okay. I have the Super Famicom copy of Secret of Mana up there myself, the cartridge.
Oh yeah,
So it's
my
okay.
favorite Final Fantasy is 9. Jerry, what's your favorite?
9's a good one.
Jerry.
I think it's 9.
Really?
I've never
okay.
beat 9, but I think it's 9 because it was just
Nine's
I don't
dope.
know, something about 9.
I think Jake for Sisyphean, you should probably play 9 and give it a shot. I think you'd enjoy
And
it.
Secret of Mana.
Yeah, I've heard. I know I'd probably love it because it has a lot of callbacks to the earlier games in the franchise, and I know lots of people speak highly of it. It's just one of those things. It's just a time sink, man. It's a time commitment. You know, Secret of Mana kiss my ass. I will not talk about it here.
I do have the retro achievement badge for that. Proud of
Yeah.
that.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. All right.
Aaron, get us the fuck out of here. Holy fuck.
Yeah. I'm really tired. I got to work overtime in the morning. That's it. Listeners, Gerry, if anybody needs more Superpod Saga, where in the heck can they go?
They can go straight to hell. Or they can
Every
go to
episode.
superpodnetwork.com. Superpodnetwork.com. All of our favorite friends and many, many more. All over there. Go check them out. Lots of episodes. Lots of fun content. Keep your eyes peeled for YouTube stuff that goes live when you least expect it. And we do too.
Yeah. Check out the first half of this episode on YouTube.
The first 15 minutes. Holy shit. Jake, Chard, thanks for hopping on with this hopping onto this with us. Holy Christ.
ChristAlive.com.
Yeah, sorry for keeping you up so late. Yeah, hope to have you guys on again soon. It was awesome.
Greatly
Great.
enjoyed
Thanks for
it.
having
Please
us.
take that tag off of under my name. Thank you.
I'll do it right now. Listeners, make sure to leave a rating. Oh my God, make sure to leave a rating and review. Support the show on Patreon, $2 to $4 a month. Check out superpodnetwork.com, Retro Rehab. Everybody say bye.
Mission World.
Take care, guys.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.